Welcome, friends, to the Real Estate Investing Live Show with your host, myself, Brent Daniels. Today, we're going to be talking about how to effectively get past that initial reaction, the resistance that we feel whenever we're speaking to a property owner for the first time, when we're reaching out to them, we're being really proactive. Now, remember, every single day, we have to wake up with the same question in our mind. Who is going to work with us today? Who is going to sign a purchase agreement with us today? Right? And so how do we find these people? How do we get these opportunities? How do we build up a nice pipeline of leads? Well, there's inbound marketing, which is traditional marketing, right? That's you put money out there and people call you because they are ready to sell their property, right? And I'll say this, if you don't have a minimum of $2,000 a month to commit to that minimum, that's the bottom, $2,000 a month for inbound, don't do it. Stick with outbound. Stick with earning those opportunities. Go and be super proactive, right? And so how do you do that? Well, really, you could cold call, or you could door knock. That's it. I've done it both. I started out door knocking, and it was good. It was effective. It got me out of my comfort zone. I had zero budget, so I did what I had to do. And myself, and I would go and I would grab a few other people in my real estate office at the time, and I would convince them to come out with me and knock on doors. And we knocked 15,000 doors, and it was great. It was a great experience, right? It was great to get past the kind of the fears of rejection, the fears of opening up a conversation, but I learned a lot from it. And listen, this is 2012 that I was doing this. This is 2011 that I was doing this. When I really figured out that all I needed was a name, address, and phone number, that's when I got on the phones, and that's when TTP was really created, talking to people every single day, initiating those conversations, right? And that's what we're going to be talking about today. Right? We're going to be talking about how to effectively cold call property owners so that we can build up a budget to be able to get the inbound. Because a lot of people don't start out with $2,000 a month that you could just throw at marketing and have all the systems in place and have your schedule in place to be able to accommodate those leads, to be able to answer all those leads live, to be able to communicate really, really effectively and pre-qualify and filter out the good leads and the bad leads. So we need some experience. We need some experience, and we need to build a big, healthy, heavy bank account. All right, so let's look at this. All right, I'm going to add this to the stage here. And let's make this big, Matt. Let's make this this iPad a little bit bigger. There we go. Okay, listen. When you initially look at this graph, I love this graph because this is exactly what happens. If you've ever made calls, you know how this feels. All right? Right when you're right here, right? When you're just initially, when you first get on the call with a property owner, the resistance is high. They have had so many of these calls. They know how to get off the phone with you. That's why we got to break their pattern. All right. And we're going to be talking about how to break the pattern. I'm going to show you the scripts to break the pattern. We're going to be going through all of this. All right. But you got to know initially they've got that force field up. They're protected. They've got a wall around them that says, I don't know who you are. You might be trying to scam me. I don't want to talk to you. Okay. And that's just one. Have you ever gotten a call, right? You get a call and initially you're like, oh my gosh, I shouldn't have answered this. I shouldn't have answered this. Right off the bat, they just go right into the pitch. They go right into who they are. I don't care if it's pest control or insurance or people trying to buy your properties or people that want to sell you property, whatever it is. They go right into their pitch about something, right? And you're kind of like, oh man, your resistance is really, really high. That's natural. We're trying to protect ourselves, right? And so as time goes on, though, that's when the resistance will be lowered. And the way that we do that is with what we say, but more importantly, guys, this is so critical. It is how we use our tone of voice. It is how we make them feel like they already know us. And I'm so excited to break this all down. We haven't done one of these in a while, but this is really, really exciting because this is how I did my first $1 million in this business. All right, guys, no joke. From 2012 to mid 2012 to 2016, I was on the phones. That's 3.5 years. That was just, I knew that I wanted to keep as much profit as possible. So I was going to stay on every single day from 9 to noon. Every single day, I would be making calls, having new conversations with new property owners, building up my pipeline so that I can go and close consistently every single week a deal. Right. And I wanted to keep all those profits. I didn't want to hire anybody. I didn't want to be distracted training people. I didn't want my income to dip. I had a lot of debts I had to pay off from the mistakes I made in my 20s. And so I stayed on that phone religiously every single day, Monday through Friday, for 3 hours a day. And the goal was every single day, I wanted to make 30 contacts a day. Now, later in the show, we're going to bring Eugene Latson on, and he's from Maryland. He's absolutely incredible. He's talking to 100 people a day, and he's absolutely exploded his income, and we're going to really break all that down. We also have Derek Jarr, one of my original mentors, multi-millionaire, Zack Keeps. I mean, this guy is one of the most prolific investors that nobody knows about. He has over 300 single-family houses in Phoenix. His portfolio is 120 million, and he owns most of that free and clear. It's going to be bananas. He's going to be in studio, so make sure you stick around. He's going to be our last guest, and of course, in about 20 minutes, we're going to bring on Tom Croll to give us some real business wisdom. All right, so stick around. It's going to be an excellent, excellent show. All right, so I want you to look at this, and this is something that you need to take serious. This section right here where the resistance is the highest, that's usually within the first 5 seconds of a call. And then as you get through that, the resistance is going to go down and you're going to get more quality leads. But let's look at this. Let's look at how do we break the pattern here. All right. Number one is they already regret picking up the phone. They already have the resistance. They're already ready to hang up on you. Their curiosity is not piqued enough for them to want to stay on the phone with you. All right. So we have to be able to break through that. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. And the second part of that is get permission to have this conversation. Now, this flies in the face of almost all sales training. And this is just a technique that has worked really well for me. Time in, time out. I would say if you use this, you'll keep people on the phone about 85 to 90% of the time to at least get the next 30 seconds. Because your first 5 seconds is going to get you the next 30 seconds. You screw up the first 5 seconds, you're done. You're done. They're going to hang up on you, take me off your list, boom, done, right? But use this right here. What I want you to do is do not call people by their last name. Do not call them Mr. and Mrs. Don't call them sir or ma'am. All of that means that you don't know them, all right? I don't care if you're in the South. I get it. The people are more formal, and especially the older generation loves sir and ma'am. Don't do it. All right. I want you to just use their first name. And the way that you use their first name is with an upswing. Hi, I'm looking for Luke. Hi, I'm looking for Matt. Hi, I'm looking for Alejandra. Right? It is a question and it's an upswing. Right? And they're like, wait, what's going on here? Or take it, be real simple with it. Matt? Luke? Alejandra? And then what do they say next? They say this right here. Who is this? Who is this? Right? And this is where I want you to go next. And this is much different than my TTP script on the opening here, but I want you to test it out. Right? Nothing is set in stone. Scripts are used as the scaffolding of a conversation to help you open it up so that you can really start understanding the 4 pillars of pre-qualifying every property owner, right? The condition, the timeline, the motivation, and the price. That's what we're really trying to figure out on every single conversation that we have with the property owner. Now, again, use their name, right? Luke, who's this? Luke, this is Brent. I'm a local home buyer. And before you hang up, I was hoping to ask you about your home on 1212 Banana Street, and then you can decide if we need to take this, if we need to talk any further. Fair enough, right? You decide if we need to continue this conversation. Is that fair enough? Before you hang up, right now, they're like, wait a second. Okay. I won't hang up because I want to see what's going on. You're piquing a little bit of curiosity. You're like, hold on. I know you get a bunch of these calls. And really, I don't really care how you open this up. This is just an example of something that's working really well. Is make sure that you open it up as I'm a local home buyer. Do you see why we say this as opposed to investor? What does the normal everyday person think when they hear investor? Dun, dun, dun. They think you're a shark. They think that you're there to take advantage in some way. Literally, there's a show called Shark Tank of a bunch of wealthy people that just tear apart these sweet little entrepreneurs and tell them why their business is terrible or why it's great, right? Local home buyer, use it. And before you hang up, I was hoping to ask you about your home on 1212 Banana Street. See, I like using the actual address here. I don't like saying, ask you about your home or your property or whatever else. I want them to know that I've done some research. I want them to know they're just not another number in the stack. I want them to know that I'm actually looking at their property now. Okay? This is really, really, really critical stuff here, guys. And then you can decide if we talk any further. Fair enough? Get the permission. If they feel like they're in the driver's seat, you're going to sound different than everybody else that's calling them. All the people in Egypt, all the people in South America, all the people in Central America, all the people in the Philippines, they go right at it. Hey, would you consider an offer on your property? Would you want to see if you would sell your property, right? They don't use their names. They don't use an upswing. It sounds like it's it sounds like it's a cold call, right? It sounds like they're just telemarketing. And so you got to sound like a neighbor. You got to sound like a cousin. You got to sound like a nephew. You got to sound like a niece. You got to sound like a friend. You got to sound like somebody that they already know. Bob? They're like, wait a second. Is this somebody calling from my old high school? Is this somebody calling from college? Is this somebody calling from my work? Is this somebody calling about something going on in the community? What's going on here? It gives you the opportunity to ask the question, right? To see if they would consider an offer, right? Susan, this is Brent. I'm a local home buyer. And before you hang up, I was hoping to ask you about your home on 1212 Banana Street. And then you can decide if we need to talk any further. Fair enough? Okay, great. I'm looking to buy a home in the area and wanted to see if you would consider an offer on your property there. Boom. What are they going to say here? They're either going to hang up on you or they're going to say, okay, but I'm telling you 80, 90%, they're going to stay on there. They're like, wait, what do we need to talk about here? What question are we talking about my property? I'm a local home buyer. I was hoping to ask you about your home on 1212 Banana Street. And then you could decide if we need to talk any further. Fair enough? Yeah, sure. Whatever. Okay, great. I'm looking to buy a home in the area and wanted to see if you would consider an offer on your property there. Boom. Want to get to it, right? Now you've got permission. You're asking them about the property. And now guess what? There's only 6 responses that they can give you. There's only 6. I've talked to 45,000 property owners myself. There's only 6 responses. Some form of this is in there. Yes, no, maybe. How much is your offer? Who are you or who are you? What company are you with? And how'd you get my number? That's it. So you learn how to respond to all of these and you're opening up that conversation. Again, you're going back and now you're in this phase. Now you're over here. Now you're lowering that resistance. Now listen, they may not want to talk to you. They may not want to sell their property, and that's fine, but you at least got past it. And the people that do, the people that have been bombarded with calls over the last 8 years, 7 years, really, I stood on stage in April of 2017 at the Wholesaling Inc. Summit and broke down how to go and make all these calls and use a dialer. And this is something that has been used in every other industry for forever, but nobody was really doing it in real estate. And then it just caught fire. And now people are hiring 30, 40 VAs in the middle of nowhere to make these calls. People are getting bombarded and there's high resistance. But use these scripts, lower that resistance, understand that you need to get their permission to move on. And once you have that permission, you're going to lower the resistance. They're not going to hang up on you as much. Will they hang up on you? Of course. That's just what's going to happen. But the fact is, the more people you talk to, the more deals you're going to do. Does everybody agree? Write in the chat. By the way, if you're in the chat, I need this to be blowing up. I need to know where you're doing business. I need to know what you're doing. I need to know about your successes. I need to know about the questions that you have about this process so that we can answer it live in the show. All right? Don't just sit there as a spectator. Sit there as a participant. Okay? Next. I think about this all the time. I go to, you ever been to Dave & Buster's? I go to Dave & Buster's like all the time with my 7-year-old Bo. He loves it. It's like his favorite thing. And so there's this claw machine. There's this giant machine there that has a big claw machine that has these like triangles, these plastic triangles down on the ground where you go and you pick it up and it'll give you anywhere from like 200 tickets to 500 tickets to 1,000 tickets, right? And he's just obsessed. He wants to get that 1,000 tickets. He's going to go and he's going to try it over and over and over and over again. That's exactly what we do when we pick up our phone and we're being proactive. Are we going to get, or is the claw going to grab onto something every single time? No, it's not. You're not going to have successful calls every single time you pick up the phone. But the more you do it, the more likelihood of success that you're going to have, especially if you're using these tips that I give you here, especially if you're honing in your skills, and especially if you're staying consistent. Okay? But you should expect about a 10% success rate. 10% success rate if you're calling on distressed property owners. And I have it here because I think that this is really important. Don't go fishing in the desert, right? We know statistically, based on the 2020 U.S. Census, that 6 to 10% of the real estate market is in distress at all times. Whether it just be the properties are in really rough shape, whether there's financial distress, whether there's emotional distress, whatever. There's some sort of distress, 6 to 10%. So look at your market. Look at your market. Look at how many properties are in your market. In Phoenix, there's 2 million properties. That's 120,000 opportunities on the low end at 6%, 120,000. That's what I'm focusing on. That's when you go to your sweet fishing hole, right? That's when you're going to most likely catch fish, but you're not going to catch it in the desert. There's no fish there. So number one, you got to filter down your list. It's absolutely critical. All right. But you can expect, if you're making calls and you're being consistently, 10% is going to be leads. Those are going to be people that are open. These are the people that are going to give you one of these. Yes, maybe. How much will you offer? That's those right there, right? 10% success rate. So you talk to 200 people, you're going to get 20 leads. But you're going to have about a 0.5% success rate for closings. 1 out of 200 you're going to close and get paid on. That's if you make the calls. Why? Because you're able to lower the resistance. Now listen, you can go out there and you can hire a bazillion people. You can go out there and have somebody that's working for you full-time, 40 hours a week at $4, $5, $6, $7 an hour. You can do that. The resistance is going to be ridiculously high for these people. It's going to be ridiculously high, but it's better than nothing. It's better than you not doing any lead generation, right? All I'm saying is if you're serious about building a full-time, predictable business, do the work. We have 168 hours a week. I need you to find 20 hours for this business. 20 hours. 20 hours to be able to replace your income. 20 hours for you to build a nice momentum, nice pipeline, right? 20 hours, that's all. If you work 40 hours and you sleep, let's call it 56 hours, which nobody does, and then you play another 40 hours, you still have time to find 20 hours for this business. Am I right there? Yeah, I'm totally right. That's 80 and 56. What's 80 and 56? 146. Boom. You still have 22 hours. You still have 22 hours for this business. You can do this. I don't want to do it. I don't want to make calls. Great. Then build up your budget. Make more money in what you're currently doing. Get $2,000, put it into PPL, and get leads coming into you. But the way that claw machine, you're going back, you're constantly getting in there. You're constantly drawing out. You're constantly getting in there, and you're going to get that 1,000 tickets. Bo does it every time. It might take him $15 worth of credits or whatever else. Makes no sense. That place is like a casino for kids, but you will be successful. Just talk to people. Every single day that you're not having a conversation with a property owner about buying their property is a day that is wasted. It is. So let me give you some more tips for success here. When you're making your calls, stand up. Stand up. Your energy is going to be better. Now, most of the people that are calling all day long, they're going to sit. It's just too exhausting to stand all the time. But if you're just calling for like an hour, 2, 3, stand up. Stand up. And what I like, and it's not even there, I'll put this here. Put a mirror in front of you. Put a mirror in front of you so that you can see yourself making these calls. Right? It's going to help. It's going to help with your enthusiasm. It's going to help you use your face when you're speaking. It's going to help you be more sharper and more confident on the phone is if you have that mirror in front of you, right? Turn your lights on. This might sound like it's obvious, but I can't tell you how many people I see that are like on YouTube or Instagram or TikTok making these calls live and their lights are off and their energy's all low and their tone's all low. Talk about building up a ridiculous amount of resistance. This resistance is going to be so high if you sound horrible, if you sound disinterested, if you sound like you're just going through it, right? And what I find is when you're standing, lights are on, you have a mirror in front of you, and you can see yourself making these calls, guess what? You're going to... that first 5 seconds is going to be really dynamic. And we talk about it here. It's going to be much more dynamic and you're going to be able to lower that resistance much better. All right. Next is warm up before your cold calls by talking to somebody that actually wants to talk to you. Right? If you have no leads, call a real estate agent, call a for sale by owner on Zillow. Is that property still available? Great. Do you have any current offers on it? Great. If you don't get that price, what's your plans with this property? Great. Do you have any other properties you would consider an offer on? Great. I can get you that price, but it'll have to be in payments. So you open to payments. Great. Boom. Warm it up so that you're not going into this cold. Call a couple leads, do a couple lead follow-up calls and or call a for sale by owner on Zillow. They literally post for you to call them. Right? So go ahead and do that. Next. We've done that. Enthusiasm at an 8. Enthusiasm at an 8. You got to have enthusiasm at an 8 out of 10 every single day. How do you do that? Fall in love with this. Fall in love with the process. Fall in love with the potential that you have in finding an unbelievable deal and building the skills of finding unbelievable real estate deals. Do you know how awesome that is to pass on to the people that are around you? That confidence, that experience. I'm not even talking about your kids. I'm talking about the people that are going to work for you someday. You know what I mean? Fall in love with this, and that'll help you get your enthusiasm at 8. Next, start every day at 0. For some of you, this isn't going to be hard. 0 money in the bank, 0 leads in your pipeline, 0 appointments to go on, 0 deals to sell. That's the mentality that we have to stay in to build a big, strong bank account. Because that financial thermostat that we talk about on this show all of a sudden starts getting a little bit crazy once we have that 30,000 in the bank, that 50,000 in the bank, seeing 6 figures sitting in your checking account. Woo! I remember seeing that for the first time. I was like, bro, I'm a millionaire. It felt great. It feels so great. And then we get lazy, and then we start getting, over our ski. We're like, I'm a genius. I'm going to find a better way to do this. Stay focused. Start every day at 0. All right. Next, focus on the actions, not the outcomes. All right. Massive imperfect action every single day. Massive imperfect action. Progress, not perfection. That's the motto of the Rhino tribe. Progress, not perfection. It's the absolute truth. Just focus on doing it every single day. You will win. You will win. You will get better. You will understand. You're going to learn so much more from rejection, so much more from failure than you ever will from somebody that's just a lay down. You will learn so much more being proactive than you ever will be reactive. The inbound versus outbound, right? Now, inbound's the best. Inbound's where we all want to go. But outbound, that's how we really start building up. All right, next, pretend I'm there with you. If I was standing behind you, watching you make your calls, and you just had to press go and you were just having conversations, would you do better? Would you be more focused? Like the great coach Bill Belichick in the Patriots, he had this whole philosophy, this whole line that he would tell his players every single game, every practice, every time, every film study. Just do your job this one play. It's the only thing we can control. Just do your job this one play and we will win championships. Just do your job on the phone. The problem we have is we make so many calls and have so many conversations that all of a sudden when somebody jumps on the phone, we're like, oh, they're going to say no. Oh, they're going to hang up real quick. Oh, their resistance is too high. You got to assume every single person that you can lower their resistance and have a good quality conversation with. And then imagine I'm behind you giving you $1,000 an hour. What if I gave you 10 crispy, brand new $100 bills every hour that you made calls? I would have to physically tear you off the phone every day. You would do 100 hours. You'd be trying to get 100 grand a week. You'd be doing so many calls, but that's the potential that we have. That's the potential that we have here. Luke Rothfold makes $1,500 an hour. I was making $1,500 an hour making calls. Absolutely incredible. I'm telling you, you can do it. That's the potential of this. All right. You're one call away. You're one call away from your first deal. You're one call away from 10, 15, 20, 50, $70,000. Eugene, who I'm going to have on later, who's absolutely crushing, talking to 100 new people every single day. Guess what? He closed a $140,000 deal. You know how that originated? One call. Just one conversation. One conversation away. You got this. And I will finish with this, and then we're going to bring on the incredible Tom Croll. But guys, this is the blueprint to follow. This is how you go from outbound to inbound. All right. And it breaks down into, are you part-time, full-time? Do you have a budget or no budget? And are you new or experienced? Right? Anybody can send out a little bit of direct mail. You can be super sniper with your direct mail. You can send out some letters. Everybody should be posting every single day to Facebook in your stories, I buy houses, and put your phone number. Everybody. You should be friend requesting as many people in real estate groups as possible to get to 5,000 people on Facebook, and then post every single day. Nobody follows this. Maybe one person watching this or the replay of this is going to do this, and they're going to win massively. If you go on Facebook, request a ton of people, get to 5,000 people, post every single day, I buy houses, you will get 3 or 4 deals this year. You will. And then you got to decide, are you going to do a cold call, which is TTP, or SMS? Right? Cold call is going to get you deals faster, and you're going to need a lot less data. And then from there, once you get down, all the way down to where you have some experience, then you can start getting some inbound leads. All right? If you have questions about it, put it in the chat, because you know what time it is. It's time to blow your face off with the greatest business coach that's ever been created by God, Tom Croll. Tom, what's up?
Bam! Can you hear me okay?
I can see you. I can feel you, Tom.
All right.
Awesome. Great to have you on here. Let me see that shirt. What's that shirt say there?
Oh, look at that. Look at that.
Coaching Inc. Boom. Look at us. We're like twinning, just different brands. I love it.
I love it, brother. It's good it's good. Brother, I am so excited about what you were talking about. I took some notes. Spot on. Can I add to some of the things about when you're talking to people?
Please.
I mean, guys, here's the secret to success, right? First of all, stand up. You want to know one of the secrets to my success? One of the secrets are getting a stand-up desk. Get a stand-up desk. Oh my goodness.
Look at this thing goes.
Yep.
Right?
Easy peasy lemon squeezy, right? So I agree with you on that. Other guys, when you speak, 2 things, right? Smile, because your voice changes. Smile. This is the enthusiasm that Brent is talking about, right? You need to have enthusiasm. I mean, there are people right now, I don't care how much suffering you're having right now in your life, don't bring it onto the phone call. There are 10 million people that would trade places with you. You think you're at rock bottom? There's a trap door at rock bottom. There are people who are suffering right now. So just be happy to be alive and bring that contagious enthusiasm to the phone call. You want to smile because your voice changes when you smile, right? You want to project your voice like you're talking to somebody this is a way to dominate the phone call, guys, right? This is a way to dominate. Project your voice like you're talking to somebody in kind of a crowded lobby, and they're about 8 feet. You're not yelling, right? But you're just projecting your voice a little bit louder. Hey, Brent, it's great to hear from you. I heard you have a house on 123 Main Street. Maybe I've got the wrong number. Other things that you're doing the whole time, politely interrupting them, right? You lead the call. Politely interrupt these people, right? So when Johnny, Sally, or Bobby are talking, just say, Jerry, maybe I have the wrong. Do you even have a house? Are you in an apartment? Maybe I got the wrong number here. I'm confused. I'm sorry. Where do you live again? Is it 123 Main Street? Always, because you're controlling the conversation. You don't have to memorize the objection, the response to every single seller's objection. You don't have to memorize the exact right words. But here's what you need to do. You just need to have the confidence, right, that you are the best looking person in that room, and everyone wants to go on a date with you. And if you don't have a lot of time on the phone call, you got to just have that level of confidence. That just comes to me naturally because I am usually the best looking guy in the room. But that's where you want to live. You want to politely interrupt. You want to lead the conversation. You want to speak less and listen more. You want to slow down, let them respond to a question. And you do want to memorize the questions the right way. It should be Brent's word, because every single word of that script has been tested and split tested and broken down and reversed and backwards and everything else. So it should be Brent's words in your voice, in your tone, right? In your volume. That's how you do this. And then just let the conversation flow. And when you're standing up and you're confident, and always be pulling away. Brent, are you sure you even want to sell a house? It sounds like you got a dog barking. Why don't you go take it? That maybe next year we'll reconnect. Go listen with an agent. Go do open houses and showings and sign up with a broker's. Have you seen a broker's agreement, by the way, lately? But either way, we could talk. All right, but this is the thing, guys, is you just want to you want to politely interrupt. You want to control the conversation. You want to know who you are, and you just want to have contagious enthusiasm. I love it. I mean, I wrote that. Oh, and then mirroring. I wrote this down Oh my goodness gracious, guys, mirroring. I remember, who knows who's listening, right? How does the sea dragon, what is the mating ritual of a sea dragon seahorse, right? Is the one comes, right? And he looks, and the male starts to copy exactly what the female does, and then bam, baby, right? That's the secret. It's easy peasy lemon squeezy. Don't overthink this simple stuff. It's I love it. Yeah.
But listen, action over outcomes.
Yeah.
Right, Tom? I mean, that's what it is. I mean, that's how you build it up. If you're new to this, or you're just building the momentum and you haven't really broken through and gone full time into this business, it's more important the actions than the outcomes. That doesn't mean that don't get better and better and better every single day, but don't be attached to the outcomes. Be attached to your consistency, because it is inevitable that you're going to win.
Yes, it's only outcomes. If you want to know, if you said, Tom, take the last 200 people, the most successful people you've ever coached, what is the similarity, the common thread that is binding them all together? They get the most results. It's not, there is no success or failure. The most results, the most conversations win 100% of the time. So it's a volume game. It's not a skill game. It's a skill game over time. It's a volume game to start. I'll take the young, hungry guy who's ready 100% of the time. Whoever's going to have the most conversations is going to win. It's a volume game first. This is rule number 9 in business, right? What are the 9 rules of marketing? Here we go. Ready? Number 1, copied. Do not use your own, don't use your entrepreneurial creativity to redo the whatever, the script, the postcard, the bandit sign, the billboard, the radio ad, the TV ad, the whatever it is, right? Rule number 2, big. Most people don't want to sell their home. Most people who want to sell their home don't want to sell it to you. So it's a volume game first and foremost before anything else. You've got to go big with your marketing. So go hard. If you don't have the cash, then go with sweat equity and work hard. Number 3 is consistency. If I want to know how much money you're going to make this month, all I have to do is know what you did 90 days ago. That's it. It's on a 90-day circle, right? So it's like a train. If you stop that marketing because you get busy with deals and busy with contracts and busy with life's distractions, I'm going to tell you right now, it's like trying to pull a train to get it going again. You don't just pick up where you left off. Marketing needs consistency every single day. Rain, snow, sun, sleet, hail, Kwanzaa, Christmas, 4th of July, Hanukkah, it doesn't matter. The next rule in marketing is it's got to be singular, right? All the people who come to me, every single person who comes to me, I don't care if they sell door hinges or houses or wholesale or whatever it is. Here's the thing, right? They come in, they're making a lot of money. They're keeping a lot of the money they make. I say, well, what are you doing to find your customers, your leads, your houses, whatever it is, right? Oh, I do this one channel. I totally dominate it. I know the time of day, the script, the color, the font, the guys who are struggling, what do? Oh, well, I want to be on Instagram and TikTok and billboards and Facebook and cold calling and direct mail. Guys, dominate one channel at a time and then automate and then move on and enjoy your life, right? So it's got to be copied. It's got to be big. It's got to be consistent. It's got to be singular. It's got to be a fast response. There's a 50% fall off on conversion every 24 hours. So when you have somebody who raises their hand, close the deal. Don't tell 25 people about it. Don't call your mom and say, you're not going to believe it. I did what Brent told me to do, and I actually have somebody who wants to sell me their house. Hang up the phone with mom and go back and close the seller lead. That's the key. Or whoever you're calling, your brother, your sister, your friend. That's it. And then also it's got to be delegated, right? It's got to, as soon as you can, every single entrepreneur needs an executive assistant. Every single one needs an executive assistant, and anybody else can help you. An executive assistant is just there so that you can spend more time in the beginning on revenue generating activities. So it's got to be delegated to somebody else. So eventually, as soon as you can, start to hand it off, because you are an entrepreneur. You're not a marketing. They're two different types of people. You're only marketing until you don't have to market. Hustle is a season. It's not a lifestyle.
Yep.
Bam. So you want to do that. Also, it's got to be trackable. There's no, well, it's fuzzy. I'm not really sure where this lead came from. If you want to increase your business acumen and have a business that you run instead of one that runs you, you've got to be able to tell me where homeowner Johnny, Sally, and Bobby came from, exactly the list, exactly whatever the marketing channel is. I've got to know 100%. Got to be trackable, meaning it's got to have an ROI. It's got to be double checked. You got to make sure the phone number works. You got to make sure that the link works. You got to make sure the website works. Whatever it is, once a day, whenever you're working on this, just make sure. There you go. What a marketing breakdown. I love it. There you go. Okay.
There's the trackable. We look at that every time, right, Tom? Income, cost, deals, average income per deal, average cost per deal, ROI.
Bam. Yeah.
That's for the last 12 months. Almost 2.7 million, Tom.
Brother.
Wholesale deals.
I don't have my victory bell at the cabin. There you go. Beautiful. Yeah. And and it brings up a good point too. No branding. I don't care what fancy Facebook ad you see about branding. Dan Kennedy teaches us this. Bill Glazer teaches us this. Every single man and woman of consequence who came before us in the last 2,000 years, branding is for Fortune 500 companies that need to spend a budget in the department or they lose it. Real branding comes from super effective marketing. Yep. Marketing has an ROI. So forget all the words. And if anybody calls you and says, pay me $35,000 and I'll help you pick a company color and I'll emboss your signature on a website.
I've done it. I did that early on, Tom. I paid a company, a design company, like $20,000 to come up with a logo. And I was like, what is, and they, you know what the name of the company was? Momentum. That was my real estate brokerage. Momentum Realty. Anyway, I did it. You speak the truth, Tom, and we fall in love with it. And I wanted to spend that because I thought that's what companies did. I wanted to spend it because I didn't believe that I should be taking that money home for myself and my family. I wanted to spend it because I thought that it would make me more sophisticated or that would get me more deals. And then I just got on the phone for 3 years and did, $1.5 million from just, massive imperfect action, from just picking up the phone and saying, hey, would you consider an offer on your property? Boom. Changed my life forever.
Branding is a luxury. When you get to a certain stage, you can start to be a philosophy guy. You can start to pick out colors. Just the most important, just get your first $1 million in the bank. That's the key. And then we'll have a conversation about whether or not orange or black is the right color for my t-shirt or whatever it is. Right. So yeah, I totally agree. It's gotta be marketing 101 and it's gotta be double checked. Guys, the rules are really easy and it's gotta be written down. Do you notice, I was just noticing this and then Brent just brought it up again, right? He just had it written down. Guys, one of the rules in business is this. If it's not written down, it doesn't exist. If it's not written down, it doesn't exist, right? I am telling you, all men and women of consequence, what do? They read, right? They follow the old proven rules of marketing. They are charitable or tithing, right? One or the other or both, right? They're all reading 8 pages a day. We already know this 100 times every time I talk, right? 8 pages a day is the key.
Yep.
What is the other thing? It's written down. Right? They're not hiring experience. They're hiring ordinary people to do extraordinary things because it's written down and it's easy to plug somebody in, a good person, a nurturing, loyal, honest, hardworking person who wants to see you succeed and they want to be part of a team. They want to be better than something else. You can hire those people and you can plug them into a system because everything's really clear. Right? An 8-year-old can see the vision and then can implement it with the right checklist. That takes, by the way, 20 minutes to write down. It doesn't take 20 days. It takes 20 minutes. So easy. These rules
how about a business plan?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? How about a written business plan? We have a link, Matt, you could throw that in the chat. And then we'll put it in the comments. By the way, guys, we're going to take this whole show and we're going to do a HD version of it afterwards. We'll post it afterwards, but we'll put the link in the comments there. There's a business plan that you can fill out. And it's very simple. It's just, what were your past results? What are your results that you want this year? And how are you going to get there? I mean, that's all it is. A business plan is just it's written down our goals, right? Our dreams, our vision. People, I'm the visionary of the company. Okay, let me see your business plan. Oh, it's in my mind. Right. No. You're an amateur. You know what I mean?
Of course. And here's the thing about a visionary plan. There's a great book called Vivid Vision, if anybody wants to check that out. But here's what I would say, guys. When it comes to your vision, if my 15-year-old, right, this is, let's use the Roman Empire, right? So this is Caesar and this is Marcus Aurelius, right? If Marcus Aurelius, remember when Caesar says it's Rome is a whisper, right? And if you talk too loudly, it's going to blow out, right? You need to, if you want to inspire, motivate, if you want to see something of beauty, go and spend some time with Brent Daniels and his team. Brent Daniels is nothing. He's nothing. He's just one little tiny cog in a wheel of people who love and support him. And why? Because crystal clear vision, right? From the beginning, right? So here's the thing. If you want to be a visionary, have a vision that my 15-year-old daughter can see in her mind in 20 seconds. without a lot of big fancy words and complications. Be singular. Make sure it's for fewer people. If it's for everybody, it's for nobody, right? So it's got to include and exclude people, and have a 90-day goal, and have a 90-day attainable goal that you actually believe in yourself. You will see that your visions and your goals will get bigger and bigger and bigger as you continue to put numbers on the board. As Brent is talking about, more results, more conversations, more outcomes. There's no success in failure. There's only an outcome. And the more outcomes you get, the more you just keep watching the compass of that ship, and you're just making sure all my oars are rowing in the same direction. Whoosh, 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 right? What do we see with people who struggle, people who are suffering, people who succumb to the 5 things that take out an entrepreneur, right? Debt, divorce, health, legal, and taxes. What do we see? One oar is doing this.
Say it again, Tom.
The 5 things, when you guys look at people, the entrepreneurs who are suffering, right?
Yep.
They can't seem to ever get to $1 million a net worth, or $1 million a year in income. And you see just again and again, and they're suffering, and they're causing suffering, not just in their own mind, but in their family, in their business, in their community, with their team. They're not following the old proven rules, right? You have a ship.
No, but what's those 5? What's those 5?
Debt, divorce, legal, health, taxes. Those are the things. And when I say divorce, it's not just divorce from your spouse. It's divorce from a partnership that's going south. Rule number 4 in business: never partner when you can hire. None of this 50-50 garbage of like, I can do this and he could do that, and I can do that and he can do this. It's a lie. You're made in his image. You're super powerful. There's nothing in wholesaling that you can't do in 5 seconds. So just commit to make sure you have a ship. Keep the compass pointed in one direction towards one destination. No distractions disguised as opportunities. Every oar rowing in the same direction, at the same speed, at the same time. No shiny objects. And you just put horse blinders on, and you just have one way, and you just keep at it and keep at it and keep at it. I mean, it's so simple. I think business is easy, but owners are complicated. We make it hard on ourselves. We don't have to do that. Business should be a blessing, not a burden. If you want all of the benefits of being an entrepreneur, you need to act like an entrepreneur. This is not a cash grab. This is not a cash grab. This is, you're going to work hard for a season, and then you're going to be plugged in, and you're going to have something that runs without you. And then you're going to have 10 of them, because they're like potato chips. Because once you do it the right way one time, you're like, oh, I should also do this, and let me give this guy 50 grand so I have a 20% stake in his business, and he could do all the fulfillment, and I'll just be at the cabin, or whatever, right?
You know, I was listening to a Alex Hormozy interview, or just a YouTube that he had, and he was talking about Chick-fil-A versus Boston Market. And he talked about the difference between hiring mercenaries versus missionaries. And I thought that was a really interesting, and I wanted to ask you about this, because I have in my business, I kept getting mercenaries. They're really, really, really good. But then as soon as they could, they started their own business. They took a different opportunity. They did whatever else. Once I started bringing in people closer to me that really wanted to grow and do something special and believe in the company and believe in what we were doing, it was more missionary, and it was more, they were going to stay, and they were going to really want to grow this because they wanted us to all succeed, but also they're really proud of what it was. You know what I mean? How do we as business owners attract missionaries versus mercenaries?
Yeah, I think it's a great question. I think I can tell you my take on this is very simple. I have a childlike brain on this. I think simple is the way to go. I think that there's a lot of very, very heavy, very, very complicated business systems out there, like EOS and Vern Harnish from Scaling Up, and then Gino Wickman from EOS, and all of the other systems. And I think they're good, but they're very heavy, and they sometimes put us in confines that entrepreneurs tend to naturally fight. It's like an entrepreneur trying to live on a budget, which is nearly impossible, right? And what I would say is this: the reason that I like Michael Gerber from the E-Myth is because he writes this out very specifically. Michael Gerber has already come before us, and he's already taught us that our product is, I got the little guys running around outside. That's
good.
Our product is our business. It's not that our product is not door hinges or real estate or contracts or refrigerators. Our product is our business. We are the owner, we're the entrepreneur, and our business is our product. When we recognize that and we understand that we're not Superman or Superwoman, we're just a series of checklists that have yet to be written down and documented in an org chart, we will start to attract ordinary people who can get extraordinary results. I think what happens is when we say the business system requires a lot of experienced people, we are automatically changing from missionary to
mercenary,
or from people who want to be part of something larger to people who want to have their own thing. I want team players. And this is why I never understood these entrepreneurs who they'll sometimes their talking points are, like, oh, they're hating on entrepreneurs. I'm like, on being an employee. I have tons of employees and I love them. And I create the environment. I foster an environment for them to make mountains of revenue and freedom I don't care about micromanaging. The last thing I want to do, right, is I want to create an environment where people are going to have enjoyment. And just like you have done, I think that's the difference, is that we have to be really clear on having a clear vision and then attracting people who are good people who are already working. Remember, for me, right, if you want to work for me, you darn well better get a job, because I'm not going to be the testing ground for people who aren't working. So you want to work for me? I want people who are good, honest, hardworking, loyal, good people who are going to show up and do the right thing, and they can see the bigger picture and they want to be a part of it because it's going to give them fulfillment. I want to give them ownership. I want to give them equity or revenue share or a mountain of income. I want to do that because I want to attract people who are going to be with me long term. And I think my track record on that is I keep people for forever. Forever. Yeah. I love it. It's just it's the thing I hear on the mercenary. I think the thing is, again, it's about not creating an environment of a cash grip. One of the rules in business is this: never sacrifice success for wealth. They must coexist equally. The number one rule here is you have to know what success and wealth means. Wealth is an external comparison to other people. Success is an internal comparison to your ideals. When we see these people who they're like a rocket ship and they're shooting out of the gate, and you see them, and there's no judgment, but you see them sacrificing success, a good night's sleep for money. These people usually are like a shooting star. They last, and then everyone's like, where did they go? Right?
Yep.
But the tortoise, right? Knuckles at home, my African spur-thighed tortoise, right? Who with his huge shell now, it's just a slow and steady, one direction, do the right thing, and create an environment where people get to, life is so short. Like, just create an environment where people get to love each other. Easy.
CoachingInc.com.
Bam! CoachingInc.com. Yeah. And if anyone, I have a site now for anyone who is not, if you're earning money and you're not keeping as much, you don't have a lot to show for it, it's coachinginc.com/BAM, BAM. And it's going to be, I'm helping one of our friends. I'll call you offline about this, but I'm helping one of our friends who's an entrepreneur who doesn't have a lot to show. He's still on the hamster wheel for all the money he makes. And it's a simple little financial plan that's going to follow the old proven rules, the ancient rules of money. And it's for everybody, whether you're below zero or you're worth 25 million. It's a free site.
Awesome.
Bam.
Tom, you're the best. Thanks for being on here.
God bless, brother. I'm getting back to the kids. I'm going to go have a burger. See you later.
Love you, man. See ya.
Love you, brother. Bye-bye.
Awesome. Guys, Tom Croll. Oh man. Every time he comes on here, I do it for me. I said it before, like he never does a lot. He doesn't do a lot of YouTube. He doesn't do podcasts. He's not doing any of that anymore. He's very private and he's built himself up, but I still like dragging him out. He's just so amazing every single week. And if you're getting value, make sure that you like and subscribe. Can I see that real quick? Yeah. So this is what Luke is, my YouTube manager, is to like and subscribe, guys. Like and subscribe if you're getting value. We'll just put that there. How about that, Luke? That'll fall. Anyway, there you go. If you are not subscribed, guys, make sure that you subscribe if you're getting value out of this. We come out with content 4 times a week, 2 live shows and 2 interviews, typically with incredible people for the Wholesaling Inc. podcast. So like and subscribe. All right. Awesome. We're going to do a giveaway. Before we do, let me share with you. We talked about this right here. We talked about, let me zoom in here and get this. Can we get this back on, Matt? We talked about don't fish in the desert. Well, let me show you how to find the best opportunities so that you can have really good, what am I doing? Entire screen or window? Entire screen or window, Matt? Window, right? Yeah, there we go. Share. Guys, number one, you got to do your driving for dollars. Driving for dollars at Deal Machine. This, if you were to like one tool, if you could only have one tool right here, Deal Machine, I would get the one that gets you free skip tracing, 10,000 free skip tracing, get all the phone numbers accurate. It's awesome. Dealmachine.com. Make sure you use the coupon code TTP so that you could test that out for free. The number one list for us right now that's smaller. Driving for dollars can get really big because you can pull all the unique lists there. But US lead list. This is the top list. This is the pre-probates. Nobody, they only allow 3 licenses in each market. So you definitely want to jump on this. I was on a waiting list for this for 7 years, maybe 8 years. Realsupermarket.com is phenomenal. They have incredible lists here. Let me get here. Incredible lists on all of these specific distress lists. And everybody buys these guys' data. So then they'll buy it, they'll mark it up 20 to 50 to 100%, and then they'll sell it to you. You could just get it right here from the source. You got to email here to get those or call. Make sure that you do that. Flipfinder.ai, guys, flipfinder.ai. Use AI to find the most likely people to sell at a discount. You get these AI scores here, wholesale scores here that tell you if it's likelihood that they'll sell at a discount. It's absolutely phenomenal. Nice. Next is for your PPL. If you're at that point where you do have $2,000 or more to spend on inbound leads, go to ttpleads.com, ttpleads.com. That is our portal for property leads, which is a PPL, a pay per lead company. They're absolutely phenomenal. Novation. If you're getting into Novations, I know we're kind of all over the place, but novationjv.com. This is with Novation King. Rich Wonders, who's absolutely phenomenal. I highly suggest that you do your first couple deals with somebody that has experience. Learn that way. That way you don't have to spend thousands on coaching, but live your life, do what you want to do. He's phenomenal, and nobody is doing more that I know of. And then obviously, if you're ready for if you've got the good budget, you've got the good systems, you really want the best top tier intent-based leads, it is talktopeople.com. Talktopeople.com. That's our PPC agency, or our digital marketing agency. Love to jump on a call with you and discuss if it's the right fit and what your market looks like. If you just want to get an audit on what your market looks like and what the potential that you can spend in that market and what the cost per lead is, and is there a lot of competition, go to talktopeople.com, schedule a demo, get on the phone with Mike Mahoney, my best friend since 7th grade, and he will blow your face off with really caring about where you're at in your business. All right. So those are the tools and resources for you guys to use and be able to go after the most likely people that are going to sell at the discount. That's 6 to 10% of the market that is in distress. Let's throw some darts at some balloons and give some stuff away before we bring on Derek Jarr, who just came into studio. It's going to be absolutely awesome. So here we go. Switching over to the lapel mic, guys, as always. Here we go. We'll go top shelf is going to be the Rhino shirt. Boom. Got the Rhino shirt is going to be top shelf. The Rhino hoodie is going to be the white balloons. And then the bottom row is going to be incredible book by Henry Washington, Real Estate Deal Maker. You also get a really cool trapper keeper that it comes in because we're going old school, and you get the master lead sheet, which is a pad for you to fill out as you're having conversations with property owners, baby. What should we hit? Who wants what? You want a trapper keeper? You want a hoodie? What do you want? I'm going to bring over a dart, but let's be honest, I only need one. I'm gonna go way back. Way back. All right. Can you show the distance of how far this is real quick? Boom. Okay. Derek, what do you think? This is gonna be, oh, There we go. Takes two. Thank you for participating in that. We'll be giving somebody a, what was that? The shirt? Yeah, the shirt. No, the hoodie. The hoodie. We'll be sending the hoodie to somebody in the chat. So make sure that you give your details. Matt's going to pick it out because Alejandra is at home in Minnesota. So without further ado, Derek Jarr, come on in. Derek Jarr, everybody. We should have a... Yeah. How are you, brother?
Good to see you.
Come on in. Have a seat. Sorry, awkward hug. Derek, so what year did you start in real estate?
2002.
2002.
A long time ago.
How many deals have you done?
I don't know. Maybe 2,000.
2,000 deals. Okay. You're speaking to an audience. They're saying, hey, do we have him on screen yet? There we go. Perfect. There we go. There's Derek. All right. So 2,000 deals. Somebody needs to go out and get their first deal this week. What do you think they should do?
Wow. Buy leads. I don't know. I mean,
No budget.
no budget.
Yep.
Oh, door knock.
Okay.
Cold call.
Who would you door knock?
Pre-foreclosure list because that's free.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where would you get the pre-foreclosure list?
Well, I mean, I would get it. I mean, I think there's multiple different providers. Like, honestly, I don't know where we get it from currently.
You can get them from title companies.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Title companies will have it. You can get it from any of those resources that I mentioned before.
Yeah.
Foreclosure Radar is a really good one for nationwide ones.
I mean, I think you might be able to even search on Zillow and buy
Right.
auctions and find it there. So,
and then what? You go to the door?
Yeah.
What do you say?
Hey, I just stopped by to talk about the house situation. How's it going? I mean, it's you just gotta start talking to people, right? I mean, that, like, literally.
What are you, rusty now?
Yeah,
It's been since 2002, 2003.
I was like, oh, here I come in the fire in the ring. All
That's
of a sudden,
it.
yeah. I got to practice next time. Yeah, I mean, I think we at that time I would just say, hey, I was stopping by to see if I can help out with the home situation, which prompted them to be like, what home situation?
Yeah,
and then go, the one with the bank.
Just open up the conversation.
Yeah, because I mean, they weren't seeking me out, right? At that point, like I was going to them.
Yeah,
you know, so yeah, that's what I would do.
So if you were to, so you started out creative finance, or were you doing wholesale deals in 2002?
Probably started wholesaling in late 2003 because I was knocking on doors. I was knocking on doors to buy properties to fix and flip.
Yeah.
And then I started doing the sale lease.
So you went and you were raising funds to do fix and flips?
Yeah, friends and family. Yep, absolutely.
And you approached them, said, hey, listen, I think that there's opportunity here. I'm going to find some ugly houses, make them beautiful, and sell them for a profit.
Yeah, I mean, listen, that was a long time ago, you
Right.
know, right? So it's like I grew up in my household. My stepfather was a contractor. My dad had flipped some homes and was a realtor when I was really young. So I kind of saw that stuff.
Yep.
And then, you know, the real estate investment education world was nothing like it is today.
Right.
You know, it was very cheesy. But you know, just like the idea and the opportunity kind of drew me in, I guess, to like try and go figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you were to start now with as much education as there is in 2024, what would you do first? Would you do flips or wholesale?
I mean, me personally,
Yeah.
I would do wholesale today because wholesale is a marketing and sales engine.
Right.
I mean, that's really the essence of it, you know, because you got to pay the bills. You got to be able to buy groceries, right? So like if you don't have a job that's flexible that will allow you to do other things, like you got to go get a job. You got a job where you got to go get income coming in.
Yeah.
And there's nothing like it in wholesale.
Yeah. So you started out, you did some flips,
Yeah.
and then you learned creative finance,
Yeah.
and you did some of that.
Yeah.
You built your portfolio up to, what was it before the crash?
I think at the peak, I was only at about not only, but I was about 40 houses that I personally owned.
Right.
Yeah.
And market goes down.
Mhm.
What happens to those 40? Keep them?
I kept a lot of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
I kept more than I sold. I did short sale some at that time.
Yeah.
But most of them that, we just kept them and traded up, sold them throughout the years. And because when the market went down, like the rents went down a little bit, but like if a $400,000 house went down to 200, you know, my rent might've gone from 2,300 down to 1,900 or whatever. But
Yeah.
It wasn't like,
were you pulling out equity from your portfolio? Probably couldn't because the values went down. But at any point, did you pull out equity from the portfolio to be able to do flips or buy other properties?
I did earlier. I did like from stuff we were buying in 2003 and 2004, 2005.
Because I got Zack Keeps coming on and later.
Yeah,
and
awesome.
His strategy is absolutely incredible. Guys, you got to stick around to the end of the show.
Yeah.
For real.
I mean, he's a badass.
I know.
He's
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know specifically, but just from what I do know, like that guy's a machine.
300.
Is it? Yeah.
He's almost at 300 houses.
Yeah.
In Phoenix.
Yeah. I love when he puts his videos out about like, we're going to evict this guy today.
Yeah.
Have you seen that sometimes when he does that? Yeah. Sorry, not to evict people, but just like, it's like cops, bad boys.
Yeah.
Like that,
He documents a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. So then you get into more flips. That's when I really came on board with you in 2012. You opened up a real estate brokerage. Would you do that again?
Nope.
No. Good. Okay.
Well, I mean,
me neither.
What's happening next month?
Yeah.
With the buyer broker.
Yeah. That's going to change everything.
Our friends are all posting, oh, nothing's changing. We're all going to be fine. Like, it's going to be different for sure.
Yep.
So started real estate brokerage in 2009. We're flipping short sales in late 2007, 2008, 2009.
Mm-hmm.
Those were really good times. So,
and then flipping to development to now Stay Frank.
Yep. Stay Frank.
Right.
Sale leasebacks. Yep.
Sale leasebacks.
Yep.
So people that want to sell their home, they want the equity from the home, but then they're going to lease back the property that they live in. So guys, when you run across those property owners that want to sell, they need the money. They're in a financial hardship, but they don't want to leave their house. They can go to Stay Frank and you guys can work a deal together.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We've done a couple deals recently with other wholesalers who like, I'm actually was texting a guy today in Florida.
Yeah.
And he's like, I got this house in the contract, but they really just didn't want to move because they don't know where they're going to go. They want like a year to kind of like reshuffle the deck, so to speak, get some cash in their pocket, catch their mortgage up, and then they can kind of move on their terms a little bit more. So yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Do you read?
I listen to more Audible now than I used to read more.
When do you listen to Audible?
Walking the dog in the morning, at night before I go to bed, sometimes driving.
Yeah. Doing chores, doing little things around the house, right?
Yeah.
Every time I drive, I've got something on.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yeah.
Every
Absolutely.
time.
Yeah.
I haven't listened to music in my car unless the kids or not even my kids. They don't care. If Erin's in the car, she's like, what are we listening to here? And then she's talking and then I'm not listening. And then, you know what I mean? I find that if my wife's in the car and I'm paying attention to this and she's talking to me, it's not good.
Yeah.
And so I'm like locked in. So whenever I'm in the car by myself, I'm listening to something.
What about when you're in the Waymos? What do you do then?
Wait,
you love those Waymos.
I love the Waymos.
They're so clean. They smell good. There's no one like trying to talk to you, not talk to you.
It's the future.
No one smells in the car when you get in. Even if you get a Uber Black, sometimes they smell. Yeah. The car. It's like, anyway. It's crazy. Yeah. So Waymo's got something dialed in for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, I'm just, usually with Erin. So again, not listening to anything there. Yeah. So what kind of things are you listening to that are, because you've gone to a point now where you've had massive success. You've sold some luxury properties for multi-millions of dollars. You've had some multi-million-dollar exits on some of these properties, right? You could probably just put your money into the market or somewhere that's safe and not do anything. So how do you stay motivated?
Well, it's kind of you say that. I've found that I like to do stuff in life, and stuff costs money, and I have children, and I want to provide for children, and I want to have life experiences, and so I think it's not like you don't make money just to stack it up and be like, oh, look at what I have, right? Yeah. I think you make money to create value in the world and have experiences and share those experiences with people. So, and listen, I think like most entrepreneurs, we've had really good times. Well, a lot of us have been fortunate of really good times, and we've had some not so good times. And so in starting Stay Frank a couple of years ago, we invested into a new business, right? And so we were a nonprofit for a while, and now we're turning a profit, which is nice. But yeah, I mean, we're focused on working and love. I mean, how do we stay motivated? It's like, you got to keep your mind.
Do you have a number or, you know what I mean? Do you have like hey, if I get to this millions, I'm going to just, be a yoga instructor. Or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
By the way, Rafael Cortez,
Yeah.
everybody. Rafael Cortez.
Mhm.
Thank you for joining us, guys.
Yeah,
If
what's
you have
up?
any questions, make sure that you put them in the comments section here. Derek Jarr. Derek Jarr is one of my original mentors from 2012. He is really well known here in Phoenix, has done it all, has done wholesaling, has done creative finance, has done fix and flip, has done development, has done lending,
Mhm.
has done it all.
Yeah. I
And now
guess.
you're doing Stay Frank, which is a sale leaseback. So absolutely incredible wealth of knowledge here.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
What's up,
How's it
Brad?
going?
How are you?
Good.
Good.
to see you,
What's
man.
up, dude? Good to see
Yeah.
you. We're on the same schedule.
Yeah, I know.
Same time, right? Yeah. It's awesome.
We keep overlapping.
Yeah.
I like it.
So do you have a number?
No, I guess that's a short answer. If I hesitate, I guess the answer is no.
Right.
I have a number for Stay Frank because we're building it to create enterprise value and have an exit at some point.
Right.
Yeah, you know, I think I probably did. And I think what happened is like at first when I got in the business, like, I want to make $100,000 a year.
Mhm.
And I was like, oh, I'll make 250 grand. Then I want to make 500. Then I want to make $1 million.
How much was in your account when you were like, I'm rich? Do you remember? What was it for you, Raf? Well,
100K.
Derek's taking
Huh?
an hour to
100K.
think about.
Yeah.
How much? 100K?
Yeah, 100K. When I felt that, the first time when it landed, I had 100K in the account. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm rich. I'm
Yeah.
a bazillionaire.
Yeah.
I do remember a moment. It was in September 2009. I was in Manhattan Beach working out of this little beach house for
I
the
remember
summer.
this.
And we were doing the short sale flips. And we finished out the month and I was like, I think I made just under $400,000 this month.
Right.
And I was like, that's pretty fucking good.
Uh-huh.
You know, that was a good month,
Uh-huh.
you know? So anyway, had lots of people helping me and, you know, Mark was on our side and stuff, but
Yeah.
I think that sticks out obviously as I brought it up. So I was like,
How much of that did you take home though?
400,000.
400,000 was your cut.
Yeah.
That wasn't the company's cut.
Yeah.
So how did you structure that? Because that's something that has always been interesting to me. Is you have two models, right? You have a cash machine and you have a put money into this investment to exit someday for multiples,
Mhm.
right?
Correct.
Two different paths. there.
Absolutely.
And in real estate, typically for wholesaling companies, flipping companies, development companies,
Mhm.
even on some level, it's just a cash machine.
Yeah.
It's
Yep.
just a cash
Yep.
machine. But are you actually taking the money home, or are you, just I'm going to keep my income low so that I can hire more people and so that I have to do less or whatever else? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So at that time, I mean, it was just a cash machine. It was just transactions, right? I mean, we were doing a bunch of transactions and kind of like a wholesaling business would be. And we had really good market conditions on our side and we just executed and it was awesome.
Yeah.
I think when I started building houses in late 2012, I think what happens in small businesses is like you start to make money as a self-employed person and you really just create a job for yourself, but you set your own
Yeah.
hours.
Let
And
me,
then-
let me break the keep talking.
Yeah. And then you start making some money, you start hiring some people. So then your overhead goes up and hopefully obviously your revenue goes up as well. But what happened to me in my development business is that my overhead went up and my revenue went up. But I never got to that point where my revenue kept going and my overhead kind of stayed flat. So it's like, I was like, oh, I got to hire more people. I make more revenue, but I got to hire more people.
Was it proportionate though? Like, so if you added two more people, would you see like a steady 20% increase in revenue or something like that? Or was it the more people you hired, the less revenue you were making and taking home?
More of the latter, but that had a lot
Yeah.
to do with development and construction as well, that particular business. I think in a wholesaling business and a marketing and sales business, you can get more economies of scale with your fixed cost and you can throttle up some things, some levers, and then that revenue can start to take off. But I think
So did you ever mess around? So was this ever the factor, right? You're like, okay, listen, I need to take home 40 grand a month, 50 grand a month, 60 grand, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And that's going to affect the expenses? Or were you just, okay, income's nice and high. And I'm talking early on. I'm not talking about your development. I'm talking wholesale, flipping, running and gutting, hustle season, in the dirt, doing the whole thing, right? You were adding in people, you were opening up a brokerage, you were doing all that stuff. Did this matter to you?
I mean, it wasn't, it was the top. I mean, if I think back to that time, I was like, okay, what are my expenses and how much do I need to make? And hopefully I can then I'll have some left after that. But I was really just focused on income,
All right.
honestly, because I was like, well, I don't know if there's enough. If I create this pile of income and deals big enough, hopefully that'll work out on the other side.
Yeah.
That's probably my thinking of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because once I switched to this, that's when things really took off.
I could see that.
Because I kept hiring people.
Yeah.
I kept hiring people. And I was talking about it earlier today with Tom Croll. And I was listening to Alex Hormozy YouTube
Awesome.
on the way here. And he was talking about Boston market versus Chick-fil-A. And Boston market blew up, went way faster, but it was all mercenaries. Chick-fil-A took their time, built something really big, but they were missionaries, right?
Yeah.
So the difference between hiring mercenaries that have the skills and the experience and everything versus missionaries that really believe in the company.
Yeah.
These guys are there for the paycheck. They're there for the exit. They're there for the big, the money grab. These people are there for the vision and for the, just the pride that they have in building something, right?
Yeah.
And long-term profitability, right?
Right.
And so with me, I just kept going and just hiring as many people as possible and increasing my expenses, throwing a bunch of money in marketing to, again, get this up like you were talking about. But then once I switched it to take the money home, I was real tight on who I hired.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, you can always hire more. We actually had this discussion yesterday in a meeting. We're having really good success bringing on some VAs in Mexico and the Philippines. And it's just amazing what these human beings can do, how incredible they are. But so we're thinking about like, okay, well, you can always add more pieces, right? And you kind of trick yourself in your mind. It's like, well, if I add this person, I'll just keep doing more. So I love that. That's super smart. Much different way of looking at it than I was looking at before.
I'm just pulling up your site here. Keep going.
Yeah. Yeah. Income. Revenue.
Income.
Yeah, revenue is can get you confused.
Well, I mean, I think
sometimes,
it's and I got this from Tom Croll actually. Like he doesn't care about revenue. He's like, what's your bottom line?
Yeah.
Like if you're making $10 million, but you're spending 9.9 to make it, are you really making 10 mil or are you making 100?
Yeah.
So I mean that made a lot of sense too when he first put it out there, right? And I think it's one of the things that we almost glorify to a point, especially in the wholesaling space, right? We get in there, it's like, yes, close 1.6 mil and I'm doing this and doing that, but spend a whole bunch of money on the marketing side or just wasted marketing dollars and that sort of thing. So not dialing in your I think both your op and your vision, right? Your direction. I think it's one of the critical mistakes that's often made at the beginning of it. So
yeah. I think on that too, I think the challenge becomes is like, okay, well, and I saw this in the real estate brokerage and even in other wholesalers business is like, we get like, hey, I can do it, like delegation and well, I got this money come in, like the scarcity. It's like, well, if I go pay someone $4,000 a month, $5,000 a month, whatever it is, like that's money out of my pocket. So it's certainly a constant balance to evaluate because, it's like if you could hire someone to do something that you can do for less than you're willing to make, then you should probably go do that. Right?
Yeah, the tasky stuff.
Let's answer some questions. C-Reb. Brent, how can I stack the odds in my favor when it comes down to cold calling vacant land? More specifically, I don't want to waste my time just calling everybody that owns 2 to 100 acres in a county. You know all about this. You had literally a team with Nevin and everybody going after in-town vacant land.
Yeah.
So what was your strategy there?
So a couple things. One is certainly look for title that was held in an individual's name versus an LLC, right? The second thing is looked at what was the underlying zoning. I mean, I think we were very specific in the area that we're looking at. So we were looking at kind of underdeveloped land opportunities that we could split or subdivide or whatever you might say. So that's what we did. I mean,
same
those two things.
Yeah, basically, C-Reb, just focus on the in-town properties, the vacant land. You got to pick a specific area. You guys were very tight with the areas that you were looking in. But one, are you doing these for you or are you wholesaling these to specific builders? If you're doing it for specific builders, I would call up Derek and say, Derek, where are you buying? And you're like, between, the sevens, all the way to, but really all the way to, I don't know, Scottsdale Road to 7th Ave, vacant lots that were zoned, whatever.
Yeah.
And something that you could subdivide or something that you could just build on. And if I ran across something like that, I would call Nevin and reach out. You also had a whole team that was just looking specifically for that. So I think, the most effective with vacant land is find your builder first and then go after the vacant land.
Reverse wholesale. Right.
Yeah. Reverse wholesaling. So go find your buyers. If it's you, then great. Just find your specific little area that you want to build in and just find every property there and just do everything you can to be obsessed with reaching out to them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Awesome. Chris, I want to get a hold of a property owner landlord as he is out of state and definitely a tired landlord. Quote, from my understanding. How can I open up that conversation? It's right here. Let's go back. Matt, can you give me the this here? The iPad. Oh, it's gonna knock you out, Raf.
Oh.
Yeah. Sorry. Right here, opening of the show. Guys, if you're just joining us now, make sure that the first 5 seconds gets you the next 30 seconds. Okay. Remember, right here, there is going to be the resistance to talking to you and having a good quality conversation is going to be at its highest right at the beginning of the call. All right. The longer you're on that call, the lower the resistance. So your job is to get people on the phone. You got to sound like somebody they already know. The best way to do that is call them up and say, Derek?
Yeah, I like that.
And you go, who's this?
Yeah.
Right. And then from there, you go, Derek, this is Brent. I'm a local home buyer. And before you hang up, I was hoping to ask you about your home on 1212 Banana Street. And then you can decide if we need to talk any further. Is that fair enough? Okay.
Yeah.
Right. 80, 90%. Okay. Because they're getting permission. I'm looking to buy a home in the area and wanted to see if you would consider an offer on your property there. And then they only give you 6 responses. Yes, no, maybe. How much will you offer? Who are you? And how'd you get my number? That's it.
Yeah.
It's the only 6 responses you get when you ask somebody if they would consider an offer. That's what you do. Take a screenshot, use it, implement it. Don't filter this through your own experience. Okay. Don't stay in education mode. Don't be like, oh, that's not going to work or whatever. Just try it. Yeah. If it doesn't work after talking to 100 people, then comment. I think that's a good deal.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Let's get Raph back in here. So
it's very, very accurate, actually.
The riches are in the niches, especially with wholesaling. That's Dimitri. Dimitri crushes land deals in Florida, and he lives in Belgium.
Oh,
isn't that cool?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, he's absolutely incredible. Best Facebook groups to hook up with, Gary. What I would do is I would get into there's a video on the channel. Matt, will you link that video that talks about how to do this? It's in my it's the video before my interview with Eric Klein. You can see it, and it's like how to get free deals or something, and link it in here. But just follow those instructions. I got it all laid out for you, Gary. But basically, you want to go into all the realtor groups, all the investment groups, all the wholesaling groups, any kind of local real estate groups. You need to friend request as many people as possible in there, and then post every day to your stories. I buy houses.
One thing I would recommend too on that note is start building a database of those groups too. So what we do is we just throw them in a spreadsheet, and like our VAs when we're marketing properties, they go through the spreadsheet and they just identify all of them, because that way you can assign somebody to start doing that for you at a later time. But yeah, kind of gauge them and there you go, kind of gauge them and then qualify them as well, because they're not all built the same.
Derek, is Arizona real estate still worth going after?
Yes. We're not running out of water. There's tons of water here.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's tons of demand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Listen, look at the appreciation levels. You can just Google it. I mean, obviously there's some areas that are popping off more than others. But you're going to see a consistency in Arizona that's incredible. That's why you see a lot of real estate
Mhm.
investor gurus or coaches or mentors or coaching companies come out of Phoenix, is because there's so much opportunity
Or
and
move
there's so
into
many,
Phoenix.
Mhm.
huh?
Or move into Phoenix.
Or
yeah.
move to Phoenix. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so much opportunity here to do a lot of case studies.
Mhm.
And when you have case studies, then you can really educate people with real life information, and it helps. So yeah, Arizona's absolutely bananas. So
Yep.
there you go. Awesome. Guys, keep them coming. Keep throwing in your questions here. Derek, we are at stayfrank.com. Tell everybody about it and who should reach out and what kind of opportunities.
Yeah, so Stay Frank is a home sale leaseback company. So it's for homeowners that need to access the equity they have in their house. They can't do it through the loans, with credit or job or what might have happened in their life. And just like selling and moving just isn't ideal for them, right? They have a family, they have dogs, they have kids in school, a school district. Maybe they're a couple of years away from retirement, whatever it might be, but they're getting financially, tapped and strained. So everyone knows you can sell your house and move and get the money, get the equity you have. And this is just an alternative to that. So it's kind of like a delayed move. So we're in about eight different states, I think.
What are the states?
Nevada, Arizona, Colorado, Texas, Georgia, North Carolina, Florida, Indianapolis, or Indiana. I think that's about it.
Did it cost you a bunch to get that website?
A little bit.
Did it?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. Cost me like $5,000 to get talktopeople.com.
Oh yeah.
They wanted like 30.
Yeah. You should have negotiated my deal.
they didn't know who they were talking to.
But I got a lot of back end stuff that supposedly is doing a lot of wonderful things for me. And it is. I mean, we can see some good stuff.
Are you guys doing leasebacks too on properties that are falling to pre-foreclosure? No.
I mean, on a rare exception, we'll do that, but we're
Yeah.
not really targeting pre-foreclosures for our product. I mean, we're seeing people that are maybe a month behind or 2 months behind, or they were in a forbearance and that's running out
Yeah.
now. And so now they got to kind of figure out so they don't end up in pre-foreclosure.
Yeah.
Makes sense. What do you ask?
Because we did a lot of leasebacks last year, and most of them were fine, but we did have a few that kind of came back on the pre-foreclosure leaseback.
Yeah.
We weren't telling them that they could buy the property or
Sure.
anything back. They were leasing, like
Yeah,
strictly
yeah.
leasing back. But we did have some pushback on that, just from the consumer side.
Yeah.
That's why I was asking. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's a
for
great
sure.
strategy. Yeah, absolutely.
Guys, give it up for Derek Jarr. I have this great text thread from a couple years ago, and I was like, Derek, I'm paying like $900,000 to the IRS, and you're like, the goal's always $1 million.
Yeah. I love it, dude.
So thank you for being
absolutely.
incredible. Thank you for joining us on the show, guys. If you guys have some property owners that they need to get the equity out of their house, they can't get a home equity loan, they don't want to sell it, but they want to stay there and get some of that money to be able to kind of get through some tough, turbulent times. Go to stayfrank.com and reach out. Is there another way that people could reach out and just see if there's a better way to pitch it? You know what I mean? When they run across, because we run across property owners all the time that they're like, where am I going to go next?
Yeah,
Where am
yeah.
I going to go next? I don't know where I'm going to go next.
I think there's some good general information on our website. I mean, we're happy with our team to talk to anyone who's in the business and talking to homeowners as an alternative.
Yep.
I think it's about right now in the market is giving people options, giving people choices to kind of think about, you know, it's like everyone can say, yeah, I can sell and move. So it's just another conversation point to maybe get ultimately back to a sell and move wholesale deal. But that's what we're finding.
Awesome.
Is happening too. So.
Before you leave, throw the dart, guys. Here we go. We've got
keep it
a
real.
giveaway.
Gotta keep it real.
Here we go. Top row is a shirt. Middle row is the hoodie, and the bottom row is
Yours, actually.
is the Trapper Keeper with all sorts of goodies and books and all sorts of stuff.
They still
Go
make
ahead.
those. They still make those.
Yeah.
He found those. That's
Yeah.
how it happened.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, you only have one dart. Okay.
Oh, I don't know.
No, do your thing.
Baller.
Hey,
How many shots do I
it
get?
only takes one dart.
The goal is one
Oh,
dart.
move. Sorry. Here we go. Throw it. Oh, grab another.
next
Grab
one.
another. Here we go.
So close. and
Don't
yet so
worry.
far.
Oh.
There's no way I can do that again.
That's pretty accurate.
Put
on the
it
dark
right
side.
on there.
That's the most consistent thing I've done in my life.
That's it. There it is. Thanks, brother.
Yeah.
Good to see you, man.
Thank you.
Awesome.
See you next time.
Awesome.
Yeah.
StayFrank.com, guys. Sale leasebacks. There we go. So that was what do you hit? The middle?
Middle top.
So somebody's getting a hoodie. Somebody was talking about getting a hoodie. So you got the hoodie. Awesome. Absolutely incredible. There you go. Raph,
Lexi B wants the books. That's what I say.
how much you making this month? What are we looking at?
This month we're looking I think right now somewhere around, by the time we close the month, I don't know, I think it's gonna be around the 75, 80K range.
Awesome.
Yeah, this month.
Awesome.
Yeah, last
Is that a big month? Is that a little month?
No, it's on the I say lower third. I mean, we've done 6 figures consistently throughout the month. We had a couple of them that were a little lower than that, and then some that were in the high 6.
Yep.
So yeah, but this month is gonna be a little tighter, I think. Which is fine. I mean, it's all right. He's been lending for a while, so I just want to, make a point. You talk about, lending being the goal where the money's working for you and how important that is, right? I have a quick little case study here that hit me on the way in, actually, because I was thinking about it. So I got this one deal that I thought I was going to kill it on, and I took it down and bought it. Got hard money loan on it, so it's the lender's making money.
Yep.
Anyways, put it out on the MLS. Didn't sell. We did inspections. Came back that it had foundation issues and bigger issues than we thought it did. Right. So it's like, man, when you get to that point. Anyways, we're like, all right, cool. We got to do a price drop. It ended up being about, I think, maybe $7,000 higher than what we originally got it for.
Yeah.
Like when it's all said and done, like the dispo price. From $130,000 profit, right? So we just chopped it at the knees. I was like, man, that's rough. And I was sitting back, I was like, well, I ended up on my belly on that one, so it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just a transaction, right? And then I started thinking, like, who made the money? Like, the money was the lender, dude.
The lender made the money.
I worked for the lender on
listen,
that deal.
My strategy, and it'll be interesting bringing Zack on here because Zack has a totally different approach. Probably not. Not probably. One of the wealthiest people in our area, 45 years old. Absolute. Keeps? Yeah.
Oh, savage.
Right?
Love Savage. Yeah.
Right. So he's coming in here, guys, in just 30 minutes. We're about to have Eugene Latson on. Matt, he says he's on. We'll make sure that we get Eugene on here. And Eugene is making 100 contacts a day, cold calling. Literally, he's just sitting there all day, just with his phone here, just going. So we're going to break that down, guys. Before we do, let me just go through this one more time. I'm going to get. I know, Matt. Yeah. We're going to get Raph out for just a second and switch this over. Here you go. Tips for success when making calls, right? And we'll go through these with Eugene. Eugene actually sits down. But he's doing 100. He's calling 8-10 hours a day, so he can sit down. All right. I'm sure he stands at some point. But tips for success. Number 1, stand up, have a mirror in front of you. I want you to see your facial expressions. I want you to see and use your body. I want you to not, people can feel you through the phone. They should be able to feel your enthusiasm and your confidence and your kindness and your curiosity through the phone. Remember, whenever you're on the phone, kind, confident, curious, right? In life, kind, confident, curious. That's what I tell Bo every morning. But that it's going to help if you have a mirror in front of you to see what you're looking like, right? Number 2, have your lights on, be bright. It gives you more energy. Number 3, warm up before you're about to make some cold calls. Call some for sale by owners. Call some agents that have property listed. Call your lead follow-up. Warm it up. Number 4, keep your enthusiasm at a 8 minimum. Best way to do that is fall in love with this business. Fall in love with the process. Fall in love with this. Number 5, start every day at 0. 0 money in the bank, 0 leads, 0 opportunities, 0 appointments, 0 deals you have to sell, all that, right? Start every day at 0 because it's not the days where you don't have any money that are the toughest. It's the days that you have that 100,000 RAF, right, in your account. And do you go to work the next day, right? Next, actions, not outcomes. Action's not outcomes. Massive imperfect action. Don't worry about the rejection. You're going to get better. All right. Number 7, pretend that I'm standing there with you. Pretend that I'm in my TTP shirt. I'm either wearing pants or shorts. And I'm just like, you got this. Come on. Do this. Go, 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 go. And pretend I'm there with you, right behind, watching you do it and making sure that you're doing your job every single day. And I always played this game until I got there. Pretend that every hour that you call, you get 10 crispy $100 bills. You get $1,000 an hour to make these calls. Because if you did, you will, by the way, you will eventually get there. Where's Eugene? Says he's on, Matt.
He's not in here.
Wrong link.
Only one.
When did you send it to him?
Just same time I sent to.
All right. $1,000 an hour. Just imagine $1,000 every hour that you're on there.
Well, I mean, think about it, right? That's very doable too. Like it's as you're going through the process, and then all of a sudden you hit a 20K or 25K or a 30K deal.
Yep.
Like you are getting paid your $1,000, dollars an hour.
Yeah.
It really is how it works. I can't remember who told
Can
me
they
to do
hear
the,
him?
Yeah, they can hear.
Okay.
I can't remember who told me to do the math a while back on how much an hour of my time was worth.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been a minute, but I did the math on hours, work put in, revenue out, and all that stuff, and it ended up being $1,200 an hour.
Yeah.
And this is a while back, and it's like, man, when you see it that way, like you start valuing your time, and I think it goes back to that income minus profit,
Mm-hmm.
right? Equals your expenses, because you start, prioritizing the time and the quality of the output, which I think that's what it comes down to. So yeah, wrap your head around that $1,000 an hour thing. It happens.
Yeah. I got up to $1,500.
Nice.
$15 an hour. And then, started bringing on and training. I started with this guy, Edwin, that lived in the Philippines, American living abroad. And that's where I really kind of found that strategy of finding expatriates that lived abroad that really understood and could get past this the initial resistance that we feel on a cold call.
Yeah.
And so the first 5 seconds gets you the next 30 seconds. And Eugene's here. Let's get Eugene in here. There he is. Eugene Latson.
Hey, what's
There
up,
he
guys?
is.
How are you?
Not much, just actually on the dollar. I had to pause it now for this, but
How many contacts today?
we're at 80 right now. We're at 80.
80 contacts for the day. What time is it there?
237.
How many leads?
Nothing so far, but yesterday I got 2. So I got to actually call a seller back at 6:00. So I got 2 good leads from yesterday, and today.
Bro,
nothing so
isn't that
far.
frustrating? You talk to 80 people. Nobody's like, yeah, buy my house.
Yeah, it can be a little frustrating, but if you're doing it 7 days a week for the whole month, I mean, it's just a numbers game. At some point, something's gonna fall. So that's the challenge for the month.
And income wise, kind of a range of what you've made this year so far?
252,000.
252,000. It's halfway through the year, guys. Are you going to just take the rest of the year off and feel good about it and just kind of chill?
No, absolutely not. You said something actually really powerful. You and Tom Croll,
Man on a mission right there.
about your financial thermostat.
Yep.
When me and George Edwards, shout out my boy. We were writing out our business plans and stuff that you gave us as like a homework assignment. And then 250, once I seen I was kind of close, I was like, I gotta move this. So I moved my goal to 600. So realistically, like when I look at how much I made, and I'm like, nah, I still got some ways to go. So, it keeps me still super hungry. So that's the goal.
Good. How do you lower the resistance initially on the call? When somebody answers, how are you lowering the resistance?
Tone, pace, and speed. I don't
Yep.
go too fast. I start off very calm and relaxed. Hi, I'm looking for Brent. Like it's very soft. Most of the time, actually, this is how you know if you're doing it right. A lot of sellers will think I am a female. Originally. They will say, "Oh, no problem, ma'am," or da da, and then I'm like, then when they meet me, they're like, "Oh, well, you sound like a lady on the phone." I just sound very soft in my tone.
Yeah, sure.
Very soft, and it really puts the barriers down, and it makes them feel like it's like I got a blanket on them. So that's what I kind of always repeat And even when
Like
people
the
ask me
imagery.
in virtual office, tone, pace, and speed. Those are the 3 things I focus on at all times. Tone,
Well,
pace,
and consistency.
and consistency. That too.
But yeah, I get it, to lower that resistance. I find, Eugene, that it's not when they tell us no or hang up or take me off the list. It's when they say yes, maybe, or how much will you give me, that puts people on their back foot when they're starting out. So what tips would you give us for when somebody says yes, maybe, or how much will you give me?
So instantly, if someone says yes, I immediately go to condition. Okay, great. Well, just so you know, the condition is really important. I would, have you done any updates to the kitchen and bathroom in the last 5 years? And I shut up. And then immediately, pro tip, active listening. Oh, yes. Oh, really? Oh, 2 baths. Oh, you put this. Oh, okay. Once I get the condition, bathrooms and kitchen, and most of the other little knickknack stuff, timeline. Then if they say, hey, I want it in 6 months, I would typically say, okay, well, typically we close in 14 or 30 days. Does that work for you? Shut up, actively listen. And then from there, if they say something out of 6 months, I'm immediately saying, okay, well, what's making you not want your money any sooner? Boom. Motivation's coming out right there, naturally coming out right there. And then at that point, price, I'm doing your quick offer price typically, and I do a range. So if it's over 250,000, which it is in my market, I'm doing that times about 50, 60%. And then I do like 20K lower than that. And I use that as my range. Okay. Well, it looks like properties in similar condition are going between 300 to 350. Is that somewhere you were thinking? And I just shut up. And between that little basic little script right there, I just really learned to master the tone, pace, and speed. And then there was a couple little things I tweaked, like for the probates and stuff. But other than that, it's really your tone, pace, and speed and practice. Just practice. And I would say the best way to get really good with cold calling is to cold call. Just do it. Like, just keep doing it, and you're going to get way better. And it's the amount of volume you do too. So if you're calling 7 people a day, and that's all you can do, that's great. But if you know you can call more people, do more calls, do more. Because then when you compound that over 90 days, you're going to be a monster.
Yep.
Yeah, you got to put the reps in. What kind of targets or what kind of lists are you hitting right now that are working for you?
Tried and true probate. I love me some probates. People die every day. Probates, code violations. But actually probates, U.S. lease lists, code violations, evictions. Those are kind of the 4. And then I actually told Brent the other day in our coaching call, I've been calling a high equity, just like people who've owned the house for 25 years and calling it. And it's been pretty interesting results. It's very surprising. So,
no, that's awesome.
List, honestly. And
one thing that we did on the probate lists was build relationships with the probate attorneys in those markets.
Mm-hmm.
And we worked it out with a few of them, so they get paid at the end of the deal. So a lot of times calling these probate lists, they don't know what to do. They don't have a probate attorney yet. They're still working through the process. We come in and then do that as a value add. And then the attorney does the work, roll it into the paperwork, of course, and the contingencies and all that stuff. And then at the end of the deal, they get paid. So that ends up being a huge value add for the sellers when you're just presenting, value, right? So
exactly.
Like those two, yeah.
I love that way. I usually, when people ask me about probates, that's one of the ways. I say there's 2 ways to do it. Either one, I like the first way because I've had a probate attorney destroy my deal. But I say learn the probate process in your area and use that knowledge to serve the seller. Because probate attorneys, if you do get certain ones that might not deal with investor properties, they can certainly blow the deal up and put you on your back foot. But if you find a probate attorney that is really good with those properties, I mean, hug them, take them to dinner, become their best friend because it's so much easier. But in the beginning, I definitely say learn the probate process first for sure.
What markets are you in?
DMV, pretty much Maryland, Prince George's County, Montgomery, all of Maryland. I'm doing all of Maryland now. DC, and then I actually just opened up, shout out to Rodolfo, to Broward County and Miami.
Right on.
Yeah.
Al Nicoletti's a really good probate attorney in Florida.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Opened up
and
out there.
To work with investors. That's awesome. Love it.
No.
Oh,
Oh, sorry.
Hey, come on.
Say hi,
Say
baby. Come say
hi.
hi, baby. Come say hi.
Hey.
how come you didn't kiss me
That's
like
the
that?
real superstar
No,
right
Brent.
there, holding the fort down.
That's the boss.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
holding the
got it.
fort down, you know?
That's
But,
awesome. So how do you get past the repetitious boredom?
To be honest, Brent, the virtual office. I
Yeah.
mean, I know it sounds cliche. I did cold calling for so long by myself, and it was brutal. I mean, you really got to have some serious motivation to cold call by yourself. And I'm motivated naturally, but the virtual office made the process so much easier. I can call, talk, call again, talk, and then always think of just do your job this one play. I love when you say that.
Yeah.
And I think of it as one call at a time, one call at a time, one call at a time. So it really helps a lot. But over time, as you build your endurance up, it just gets really easy. Like 100 contacts a day, it sounds a lot. Like when I say I'm doing it for the month, it was like, oh my God, whoa. But if you think about it, I already do cold calling 6 days a week, 100 contacts. I'm only adding an extra day on there. It ain't that bad. But I built myself up over time to do that. So it becomes second nature. Like it feels weird if I don't do 100 contacts.
Right.
Yeah.
I love it. Kevin asked, do you use the number from Real Supermarket? Are you using the Real Supermarket lists?
Yes. I do use the Real Supermarket list. I do use their numbers. It had a moment where it was kind of wonky. The contact rate for certain lists were going kind of bad. So I would skip that through batch skip tracing, tried and true. I still use them to this day. Great.
Yep.
But overall, majority of their lists are good. Their code violations, probates, those are typically in their evictions. Those lists always have the best contact rates, and it's usually accurate numbers. But if you do get a list and their contact rate isn't that great, I would say skip it through batch. Just get the data, skip it through batch, and you'll the contact rate.
Your caller ID, maybe your caller ID is popping up as spam likely or not. You know, you might adjust the caller ID. That's what we do. So Jacob asked, when you say contact, do you mean that's somebody you talk to, even if he doesn't want to sell, or somebody that actually might sell and you need to qualify them?
So let me break this down. The contact. So a contact is you speak to the homeowner. They own 123 Banana Street. If they own the property, that is a contact. Now, if they want to sell it, that is a lead. If they don't want to sell it, that's still a contact. That's just a contact that doesn't want to sell. That's not a lead. So a contact is someone who owns 123 Banana Street, and whatever they say after that is irrelevant. If they want to sell it, it's a lead, and then you go through the sales process. But if they don't want to sell it, you throw them in the trash can. So that's what I consider a contact.
Awesome. One last question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you find that there are better times to cold call than others?
No, it's consistent. When I was working at the Pentagon, and I had my W-2, I had to be in the office at 5:00, and I didn't get home till 4 after driving through DC. Get home at 6:00, so I would call from 6 to 9.
Yep.
And I would still have great conversations. Sometimes a little bit, maybe even better, because this is where people are getting home from dinner. It's a little more wind down, and they don't really have much energy maybe to curse you out. So,
It's a good point.
Exactly. But it's true though. Honestly, the best time to cold call is when you can do it consistent. I've done it early in the morning at 7:00. I know they say it's illegal, but at your own discretion. I've done it super early and I've done it super late. And as long as you're consistent, you're gonna get good opportunities.
What dial are you using?
Mojo, tried and true route.
Come on.
Mojo.
Come on. I love it. Eugene, how can people get a hold of you?
We'll give the cell phone number 301-541-7752.
I love talking to people. He's the best. Go ahead. Sorry. What is it?
301-541-7752. If you got deals in the DMV market, you want to work, you want a JV one, feel free. If you got probates in other counties, other states, hit me up. Like I say, when you talk to your sellers, anything like that, just give me a ring and I'm always available because I'm usually sitting here. So,
Matt, can you drop that number in the comments?
3,613 people I've personally helped. No one has made more contacts than this guy on a consistent basis. One of one. You're absolutely incredible, Eugene. Thanks for being on here, brother.
Thanks, Coach. Thanks,
awesome.
man.
Big kudos. Congrats.
See ya.
Guys.
It's amazing. If you have a conversation
Yeah.
with a property owner,
It's not rocket science.
you
either.
might be able
It's
to get an opportunity.
Yeah.
And the
How
more
wild is that?
conversations you have, the better you get at figuring out if you can help somebody. And then you start out like a knucklehead, just like me. Start out very simple with a cash as is offer. And then you get into all sorts of other stuff. But I will tell you this, you start with a cash as is offer, you assign that deal over to somebody else, you are going to replace your income faster than every other technique there is. Faster than flipping, faster than buying and holding, faster than any of those, faster than being a real estate agent, all of those things. Okay. You find somebody that will sell you their property, and you find another investor that wants to do that, to take that opportunity and pay you a fee for that. Woo! It's exciting. And listen, you don't need to know this tool and this technique and that technique. You don't need to know any of that. You can actually squat up with people that are more interested in that. There is way more people that want to build a portfolio of properties than there are people that want to wholesale.
Okay.
Way more.
Oh yeah.
I mean, there's 19 million real estate investors in the United States. 19 million. There's maybe, and Batch did it at the height in 2021, there were 70,000 people that were interested or said that they kind of are trying to or have done a wholesale deal.
It feels like it's a saturated world, but it's really not. Not a lot of people know.
Well, now
understand.
it's a fraction. I would say 15 to 20,000.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe of people that are actively going after wholesale deals, doing cash as is offers.
Did you see how simple the script was? The stuff that he's going through. I mean, it's very simple the way that he's teeing it up, and then it's not rocket science. It's just a matter of fact. The matter of sitting there and actually going and pounding out the calls.
Let's say there's 15,000 active now, because it's way less than it was. All right. There's 143 million residential properties.
Yeah.
The stats tell us 6 to 10 are going to be in distress. They're going to sell to a cash buyer.
Yeah.
A cash as is sale. 6 to 10%. That's 10 to 14 million opportunities for 15,000 people. And it's an 80-20 at that point.
Oh yeah.
The 20% are going to take most of that. So let's say it's 20,000. It's 4,000 people are going to gobble up 80% of the profits.
It's not a coincidence that when you're wholesaling in this point properties, you keep running into the same people, same people doing co-wholesale type of stuff and whatnot. It's a very small world, so I think it's crazy not to tap into it. So, yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, there you guys go. Eugene Latson, make sure that you get him in your life. He's absolutely incredible. He gave you his cell phone number there. Connect. Listen, it's all about finding your tribe first. You know what I mean? Find your tribe. What's your coaching?
REIWholesaling.com.
REIWholesaling.com. Mine's wholesalinginc.com, guys. You've got an incredible opportunity. You got to find the people, you got to find your community, you got to find your tribe of people that are doing this business and surround yourself with them. Because the fact is, we think that a lot of people are real estate investors. We think that a lot of people read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. We think that a lot of people read Think and Grow Rich and want to be wholesalers, and they want to completely radically change their life with wholesaling real estate. Go talk to your family at like a barbecue or a birthday party or a family reunion and tell them that you wholesale real estate, and watch their eyes gloss over because they have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, or tell them that you read the book Think and Grow Rich, right?
Right.
Like it's a small world, and I think being in it feels like it may be more saturated than it truly is.
Yep.
But the opportunities are up there. So I mean, it's a matter of reaching out and really like taking it and staying consistent. Like this guy sitting on the phone. I mean, heck, he's made $250,000, this year so far.
Replace his income going full time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
There you go. Guys, I have a very important which would you rather today. This is this is a personal one.
Ooh.
Which would you rather? This is a big decision in the Daniels household of what to do. And I feel like this is going to be very dramatic because this one thing that I'm going to do, a would you rather.
Do we have dramatic music?
Let me Chad Coulter, my junior acquisition manager, is calling me about a deal. Let's see. Chad, you're live on the show. What's going on?
Am I really?
Yeah.
Don't curse.
Let's go.
Let's go.
I wanted to bring good news.
Talk to me.
EMD in for Gilbert and Phoenix.
Boom. 35K.
35K.
Did you have to put the pressure on the Gilbert one?
I did in a sense, but he was pretty receptive and he had it in before 11 a.m. So
5K each.
5K each.
Non-refundable.
None.
Boom, boom, boom. You're the man. I'm going to
Let's
ring this
go.
bell.
Ring
Let
that
him
bell.
in. There he is. We're going to ring that bell and we're going to get this going, brother. Awesome.
Ring
Awesome
that bell.
job.
Call me later, though. I got a couple of questions on comps.
You got it, brother.
All right, man. Later.
Bye.
Give me that bell.
All right.
Give me that bell.
So, there we go. By the way, my disposition manager, Jeremy, is out of town. So he sells all of our deals, does a phenomenal job. He's one of the best of the best. He's in Europe. So Chad, my junior acquisition manager, is covering for him for this. And so it's wild how much work he's putting in. So he's feeling very good
Oh yeah.
that Jeremy's coming back tomorrow. But he also has a lot of pride that he sold 6 in the I don't know, 10 days they were gone, which some of that was the weekend. So 6 or 7 deals. So that's awesome. So anyway,
like Jeremy's
we're getting
coming back
back
to
to
an
what
easy
would you
streak,
rather?
yeah.
All right. 2019, I'm sitting on the couch in my old house and I see Elon Musk come out with this craziest looking automobile I've ever seen, right? The Cybertruck. So I was like, all right, I'll put in for this, whatever. It's $200 to put a deposit down. And then later on, they're like, okay, they're the different prices and the different ones. So I got it fully all out, biggest motors, 3 motors, the whole thing. I would make it matte black, do a matte black covering so it doesn't look like a refrigerator or something like that. And I've seen them and they look cool. But I also last year I bought a Yukon Denali Ultimate. It's very plush. It's got all the TV screens. It's got the massage chairs. It's got it's a lot more luxury in this thing. So let's put these things up, guys. And I want to know from the
Would you
audience. I want
rather?
to know from Raph. I want to know from Zack Keeps. Get over here.
The man,
Which
the myth,
would
the
you
legend.
rather? All right. You've got the Yukon Denali Ultimate that I currently drive. Mine is a silver color. Okay. And then you've got the Cybertruck coming out. That is fun to drive. I drove Jamil's. It's really fun to drive. Which would you rather, guys? Go in the comments section. Give me a 1 or a 2 because I'm very curious.
So I have 4-wheel drive on a Denali.
Yeah, it's fully loaded.
To drive or to own?
To own. I got it. I'm not going to keep both.
I'll
Okay.
take the Denali.
Denali by Zack. Denali by you guys are influencing them. Come on, what are you doing? All right, number 1 or number 2, guys. Put it in the chat. I need to know. What would you rather? I would matte black it all out. It is wacky looking. I really enjoy this car. This is the exact car that I have. But let me know in the comments section and we'll check that out. And without further ado, guys, we've got our guest of honor that is going to wrap up the show. Zack Keeps, right here, brother. How are you?
Front center. Great to see you, brother.
Center.
Have a seat. Have a seat.
This guy, dude.
There
This
we
guy.
go.
This is comfortable.
Zack, when did you get into real estate?
2002.
And put this pretty close to you there.
There we go.
There you go. 2002.
Yeah.
Same as
You were
Derek Jarr.
2003, I believe, from recollection. Or 2004.
2004 is when I really
Yeah.
got going. 2003 is when I took the real estate. So 2002, what got you into it?
When I researched all the different career opportunities out there, I felt like there's no better business in terms of having control and being the captain of your domain. And,
Yeah.
you look at all the wealthiest people in the world on Forbes and 99% of them are affiliated with real estate. It was a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you mean affiliated with real estate? What does that mean? Like they just have some in their portfolio?
Everyone needs a place to live, but a lot of them
Right.
invest in real estate. If you look at the wealthiest people, you look at the greatest asset classes, things you can control, equity markets and things like that. There's nothing better than real estate.
Right.
Single family, multifamily, land, all of it. Real estate over the long term. We have a long trajectory. You guys are super young. Real estate is the best asset class, in my opinion. Coming from Wall Street background, business school, the whole 9. The wealthiest people in the world own actively or passively real estate.
Awesome. So you are buying it for the long term. I mean, this is a long-term play. This isn't but you do some flips.
I do both, right?
Yeah.
I think it's important depending on, what your cash flow situation is, but I'm a long-term delayed gratification guy. I want to own it long-term. I want to season it. I like the long-term capital gains.
Mm-hmm.
I like the leverage component. There's so many, I could go on for hours about it, but yeah.
Yeah. So it's 2002. By the way, you're only 3 years older than me, so knock it off with the age. You're
You
looking
look like
great.
you're 22.
You're looking great. So do you. You look great.
Little Botox,
Yeah, there you go. 2002.
Your skin looks
What
good,
did you
Ralph.
What did you start with?
Started with $30,000 basically to my name, so didn't have any houses, had a low net worth, but what I had was a good mindset. I had a workhorse. I came out, put myself in a position to win the game, asked a lot of questions, was hungry. We all talk about OPM, and that's what I had. I had some capital behind me.
Explain OPM.
Other people's money. So it's important, if you don't have capital, to put yourself and get to know people that have money that want to invest in you. We're the workhorses, right? We're the human capital. And basically we're the intermediary between houses, opportunities, and capital. There's a lot of people that have money, but they're lazy. Everyone that I know that's affiliated in your community, and Rafi and everyone else, we're workhorses. We can find opportunities. We can smell, and we may not have the money. So what do you do in those situations? You bring in other people's money.
Mm-hmm.
Just like you, I talk to people. So critical. We bring in, nobody gives a shit at the end of the day. I love your motto. It's incredible. We got into that on the podcast the other day.
Yep.
Talk to people. When you're looking for opportunities to buy, also ask them, do you have money to invest? If you're not interested in real estate, but you want to be my partner, you want to bet on me as a workhorse, let's marry these opportunities. We're basically, we're marrying opportunities, capital and real estate.
So you're using other people's money to buy long-term or just for flips?
Early on in my career, when I didn't have money, I used OPM and I gave up 50%. So many people are so worried about, oh my God, it's going to cost me. Well, 0% of zero is nothing, right? So if you can have a lot of opportunities and get 50% or 30% or whatever the ratio is, get yourself in the game, give a really good return to your investors so that they're going to be long-term players behind you. No one wants to do one relationship and out. We're dating houses long-term. We're dating relationships long-term. We're marrying these individuals, making sure that it's a successful venture for everybody involved, creating win-win situations, being proactive and not reactive, and basically utilizing that capital to find good opportunities, performing. Those early opportunities I flipped. That's how I created my own capital to buy my long-term assets. There's probably some investors that will joint venture with you long-term. Traditionally, it doesn't work out like that unless you're some sort of multifamily deal. But in the single family space, you're flipping. It makes capital sense. It makes good sense.
Love it.
One thing that I want to throw out there too is like when you moved to Phoenix, man, you didn't have a lot of connections. I know because we talked about that on the podcast.
Right.
You didn't have a lot of connections. I mean, you had I feel like not necessarily the easiest start kicking it off yet. I mean, you've been able to flourish and thrive. Like first of all, you're one of my favorite people in town, bro.
Love this guy. It's a surprise to see. I didn't know what I was getting. Brad calls me. He's like, you coming? I said, I'll be there for you, bro. This is amazing. I love this guy. I love both these guys. And I show up and I get a 2-for-1. You guys are incredible.
Love it, man. And then second, I mean, you're one of the most successful real estate investors who are actually doing, the business out there every single day. I see you talk to your people like, the way that you build relationships with, your employees. And I mean, it all connects, right? But I see you kicking that off. And the one thing that I keep going back to is a lot of times people stop dead on their tracks because they don't have the opportunity, right? However, you were dropped in this area, this land of opportunity, and you created those as you were going through it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how, what tips, what would you tell somebody, tapping into a new market or getting into some place where they may see it? Oh, like, no, it's easy for them because they already have it.
Sure.
Right.
Great question. I think, again, going back to the fundamentals, so many people overcomplicate this business. Yeah. Money is made in the streets, not behind the screens. It's cultivating relationships. It's talking to people and ideally talking to them in person, showing up to events. You're one connection, one relationship, one conversation away from an amazing long-term relationship.
Yep.
Showing up. When I came out here, I didn't just sit in the house and say, I'm nervous, I'm new, I don't know what to do. I still don't know what to do half the time, but I show up and ask questions, right? Like, be genuinely curious, show up, have a good time, be relaxed. We walked in, you're like, oh, you smell good. I got my lavender, bring some good energy, bring some jokes, whatever. Even if you don't know about real estate, make friends, ask a lot of questions. Good things are going to happen for the people that show up consistently, not a week, not a month, but time and time again. I went to every potential event. I went into real estate offices. I got my license. I took the courses in person so I can meet people. I didn't know shit at the beginning, just like many of you guys who are starting. But what I did know is we're going to succeed. I have that positive mindset and attitude. And how can I serve in any capacity to someone that I meet? You know, do you want to train with me? You want to do a triathlon? It's not even about real estate. It's about likability. It's about friendship and longevity. We're here for the long term. So that's my mindset. Show up, ask questions, and keep showing up. So somebody says, who's this guy that keeps showing up? You know, like, why do you keep showing up? Because I'm hungry. I want opportunities. It's going to come.
Did you grow up with wealth?
We were middle class, you know, not like upper middle class. But
What'd your parents do?
My dad is an attorney.
Okay.
And my mom was a school teacher.
Awesome.
So, you know,
investors?
My dad invested in the equity market, nothing in real estate.
Got it.
So I would walk around with my dad looking at his Quotron machine and reading the Wall Street Journal in the morning, looking at stocks. And that's kind of what piqued my interest. He made a majority of his money, not through law, but through stocks.
Of course.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's interesting, and played the long game.
But do you feel like you inherited that, seeing that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I was blessed. I mean, I just came off with Michael Martinez, who grew up in the ghetto of, you know, LA with street gangs getting shot at. You know, that's not my story, and respect for everyone. I mean, it's incredible. I was blessed. I grew up in a middle-class neighborhood. I wasn't getting shot at, but I was blessed to have that socialization from parents that taught me, hey, you want to work for yourself. You want to be the captain of your domain. You want to make your money compound and work for you. We're playing the real life game.
But that's
Monopoly.
the real inheritance.
Absolutely. I'm blessed.
The inheritance isn't them giving you $300K when you're, you know, low 20s and
30K,
saying, hey,
and they didn't give it to me, but yeah.
Right. But you know what I mean? Like that's not the legacy.
Right.
You know what I mean? The legacy is what did they teach you about the mindset?
Absolutely. 100%.
See, I feel like with my children, it's all about like leveling up the mindset, not the bank account, the net worth, all of that. That's great. But like, what do they see me doing?
Right.
What do they, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
the work ethic.
My son is like, oh, you
Well, just ethics in
only have
general, I think.
85,000 subscribers on YouTube. You're nothing, you know, but what, you know, but he's seeing that I'm putting out stuff. He's seeing that I'm doing stuff. He sees me, you know, at these company meetings. He comes into our Friday company meetings sometimes, and just seeing it. You know what I mean? And being around it, and just saying, okay, what are the options in life?
For sure.
Right?
Absolutely.
And I think that's so critically important. Let's get out of the mindset. Let's get back into your portfolio. All right. So 2002, you're going, hey, I'm going to do some flips. I'm going to crush it. I'm going to flip some properties. I'm going to build up a bank account so that I can own real estate.
Correct.
Right.
That really wasn't my mindset of saying, like, I think in my early 20s, my mindset shifted over time and through success. The beginning was like, let's stack cash. I didn't really think about it that time of, all we cared about was filling that bank account, make money,
but
make money.
You would have to pay taxes, Zach.
Right. But I did pay taxes. Right. Yeah. And then you start thinking, hey, how can I make a lot of money and pay less taxes? And how can I play this long game better? And how can I not be, you know, subjected to, hey, my last commission check or my last acquisition is my only deal. How can I make my money work for me? And as I look back, easy, you know, hindsight 2020, when you look at every deal you sold and you see that valuation go up from a couple of years, and you go back to a house that you sold and then you bought back 5 years later, which has transpired numerous times, you're like, why didn't I just hold this? Right? Long term, you know, the tides rise, right? So play the long game, and it's worked well for me. Reinvesting.
Matt, will you put me on the
What's
great set, by the way? I've never been on a set like this. Jeez.
That's right, Zach.
This is nice.
We're serious about this.
This is great.
All right. So if I wholesale 10 deals, right? Or I find 10 deals,
right?
How many of these should I wholesale? How many should I keep?
I mean, it depends on your net worth, right? And depends on your liquidity.
Okay.
But ideally, if you're first starting out, I would try and keep 1 to 2 all day long. If you're just starting out of the game, for sure.
Okay.
Cherry pick those deals.
Which ones would you keep?
I would keep the ones that, you know, if you're just starting out, you don't have a lot of experience in terms of remodeling, and, you know, you don't need crazy permits. You're not doing additions. I would keep something that's newer construction that I think was a legacy property that you can own long-term, that you can get good cash flow on. So I'd look at price of the asset. I'd look at how complex the remodel is. I'd look at equity, and obviously time frame. Like, when is it closing? How much cash do you have? Do you need other people's money, or can you fund it in cash? And
if you
what is the
needed
financing?
other people's money, would you try to keep, or would you wait until you've wholesaled enough to build up enough of a bank account to just own it yourself?
I would wholesale so that I can sleep at night to keep it myself.
Right.
That's what I've done. Yeah.
Right.
I don't believe in over leverage. I believe in, you know, strategic long-term playing.
Right.
Yeah.
And so you're talking about get to the point where, I mean, how much do you think you would need in today's market?
To own it free and clear?
No. Just
To have the down payment or do it yourself?
Sure.
Probably $100,000.
100 grand for 2 properties?
Yeah, 50 down on each. You could do.
100K. And then what kind of credit score?
I mean, 700 plus ideally, and there's no reason why you can't achieve that.
Yeah. Well, and there's so many different resources now to totally increase your credit score, which is awesome.
For sure.
So you got 100, you got 100K, you got 700 credit score. You're keeping 2 of these properties. Are you getting a property manager?
No, I'm vertically integrated. I self-manage all my stuff. I trust nobody.
Okay. So is that somebody on your staff?
That if you're only buying 2 and you're starting out, you better do those. You should do it yourself to at least 50. You know, people think I'm insane at a couple hundred, but I highly recommend, if you're going to delegate and you don't know how to delegate because you haven't properly managed yourself, get the fundamental information on property, manage it, and do it yourself. Keep it in-house, engage those relationships with your tenants, rent them out, create a maintenance team, you know, or an individual that can service it unless I'm not handy, so I outsource the handy portion of it. Our time is best spent finding deals, right? Money is made on the acquisitions and wholesale. So delegate that portion, but do it yourself all day long. Why give up 10% of that revenue?
Would you start, if you're brand new, would you start with wholesale or flips?
I would do probably a combination. Ideally, wholesale is the fundamental aspect of this business. If you can learn to buy discounted properties, no matter what, you're going to be successful. From there, then I would cherry pick and watch and emulate people that you're selling to in the beginning on the sidelines, so you're not taking any risk, to watch the processes and procedures and complexities and hardships. Learn that side of it. Maybe trade them. Maybe give them a little discount on that wholesale deal. You're still going to make 15 or 20 as opposed to 25, and say, I'm going to sell you this deal, but in return, I want to come by and watch and meet the crews and see the process and write down the numbers to understand the fundamentals. So in the future, you have a strong foundation for success. So when you penetrate and retain those assets, you're going to be ready to rock and roll and streamline the process.
Awesome. And pay them off as fast as possible?
Absolutely.
How do you do that?
Oh, pay off
your rentals.
Your rentals? Well, it depends on the debt structure, right? Like I'm strategic leverage, but no, referring to that question, it depends on how much your debt is. I have some debt at 3.5%, and some right now lines of credit are 8.5%. But I know that I can perform at least at 10%. So strategically, I'm arbitraging. If I'm borrowing at 8.5 and I can get north of 10, why pay that down? Now, if the rates were 12, of course, you want to put pay down your highest debt interest rate as quickly as possible. But at the end of the day, I'm going after equity and cash flow.
How many rentals?
Just under 300.
300. Let's just call it 300. 300.
Can you write equity and cash flow out there?
Equity and cash flow? Yeah. You have a question about it?
No, I just wanted to highlight that because, I mean, those are the 2 things that he's going after on his model.
Right.
Right. And this is average of 400,000 is the value of your the homes?
On average, they range from
right.
Yeah.
Right. Do the math, guys. do the math. But when you started, you bought a bunch. You've seen a really nice increase in appreciation. Tell me what happens when it appreciates and you get a big chunk of equity in a house.
Sure. That's when you have the ability to cross collateralize. At that point, you've achieved good appreciation. You've got a lot of equity. It's untapped. So basically, for example, just using one scenario, you buy a house for 200, it's now worth 400. Now you have $200,000 in equity, right? What are you doing with that? That's sedentary money. Until you tap into that, it's really not acting as an asset to you. It's really, I don't want to say a liability, but it's just sedentary money. Sedentary money doesn't make money, meaning it's just sitting there. You're not utilizing it. At that point, you're 50 cents on the dollar. You can go to any bank and get 75 or 80 cents on the dollar, cross collateralize it or collateralize that asset to a bank, pull out 100,000 or 150 and utilize that to go buy more assets. And basically, in a small microcosm way, that is how I built my portfolio, by leveraging. I got, sometimes better be lucky than smart, or a combination. I'm more lucky than smart, but I'm playing the long game. And through the long game, you're going to get equity appreciation, have the ability to cross collateralize, pull out that sedentary equity and deploy it to find good assets without, utilizing OPM or hard money or anything else. You're now playing with your own money. You're not getting diluted through outside forces.
Are good assets just properties in good areas? What's
Not
a good
necessarily.
asset?
A good asset is every toilet has a seat. A good asset is something that will make you money, that you have low leverage, that can appreciate, that you're going to get ROI, return on investments. If you can buy something for $50,000 and it's terrible and it's against a major road, it could still rent for $1,000. That's a 20% gross return. That's a good asset. On paper, or I'm passing by in a car, you'd say, who would want to own that? I'll own that at a 20% ROI, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Right.
Is that what you're looking for your ROI?
No. I look at 4 factors, right? Number 1, will this be a legacy property? Do I want to own it long-term? If I buy this asset, if I buy this home, do I want to retain it in my portfolio for 20, 30, 40, 50 years? Do I want my dogs or my kids or my grandkids in the future, God willing, to inherit this home? If the answer is yes, that's check number 1. So we'll call that legacy property.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Number 2, how much equity is left in that deal after I stabilize it? If there's at least 15 or 20% equity, that's very important. I want to buy that asset because now I can play with that equity, and that
2 is
increases
equity?
my net worth. 2 is equity.
After stabilizing.
After stabilizing.
What
So
does
it's really
stabilizing
important.
mean?
Meaning after I put money into it to ensure that it is now rentable or sellable. So you can't just look and say, hey, I bought it at $200,000 and it should have an ARV of $400,000, meaning you're paying 2 and adjusted retail value is $400,000. You'd say, oh, there's $200,000. What if it costs you $190,000 to stabilize it? Then it's no deal. So it's very important to look at it after stabilization, how much equity is left. Number 3, what is the cash on cash return, non-levered? Very important. So many people will rationalize buying a deal if they have cheap debt and say, oh, I'm getting great cash on cash, but that's against debt. I look at it as if you're paying $200,000 in cash, you put in 50 to stabilize. How much can I get for rent? If it's not 8, 9, or 10%, it's
slow
no
that down
deal.
a second. So cash on cash, non-levered means what?
You're assuming you're just paying 100% cash for the property. There's
Yes.
no debt. You're not putting a 10% down payment and saying, okay, based on $20,000 down on a $200,000 house, and I have OPM or bank leverage on there, what is my cash
That's
flow?
what most people do.
Most people will say, oh, I'm going to quantify. They want to just find a way to say, oh, this is a great deal. Look at my cash on cash. I'm putting up $1. Or if you come up with 0, then you have an unlimited cash on cash. There's really no such thing. Okay?
Right.
So I want to know, what is it cash on cash return, not using outside debt?
So if it's 200,000, that the value of it is 200,000. That's what you're looking at. Value or your cost, your price.
No, I want to look at my all-in price.
Your
What did I
price, your money
stabilize
in.
the
Okay.
asset plus improvements after that overall basis? How much is my
And then how
return?
much are you looking for
Yeah,
here?
your money
I
into
want to
the
make
deal.
at least 8 to 10%.
8 to 10.
There's going to be exceptions, right? Because a lot
And
of times,
so real quick. So cash on cash, let's just say that this is a $200,000. You're all in.
Yeah.
That's the value once it's stabilized.
sure,
Okay. Where is this cash coming from? Rent?
correct, rents.
Rent. Okay.
Yeah.
So rent is, let's say,
Well, let's call it 1,500. Would
Okay.
bring you 18,000, which would be a 9% gross. So
Gross.
$1,500
So that
a
fits
month. Yes. Ideally, you want the 8 to 10 be net. It's really hard today. But one important, really good factor is if you're getting on the lower end, let's say it's 8%, for example, on the lower end of the spectrum from 8 to 10, but your equity after stabilization is greater, that's okay. It's really the most important factor is the equity portion. So many people are hyper focused on what's my cash on cash return, or you buy an asset and there's an existing tenant, but the rent is below market.
Mhm.
You're gonna say, oh, I'm getting a 5%, no deal. But you're looking at the micro aspect, not the macro. I want you to look at all, and we'll get into the fourth
Mhm.
to determine whether or not you should buy it. And the fourth is, can you buy the asset less than replacement cost? Nobody's talking about that.
No. What does that mean?
That means if you take the asset that you're buying right now today and you call a builder or you buy the land and you build that same asset, same square footage, what does it cost to build it? If you can buy it for less than the current cost of building, you're getting yourself a pretty good deal.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Guys, are there questions popping up, Matt? Guys, if you have questions.
Are we live?
Yeah, we're
Awesome.
live. Yeah.
I have a couple questions.
Sure.
Self-serving questions. So on the equity portion, I mean, you kind of ballparked it at 15% stabilized, right?
Mhm.
What about the cash flow? Do you have a certain threshold that you use for cash flow when you're looking at a deal?
I mean, this again, 8 to 10 is what I'd
8 to
like.
10.
So a lot of times it's interesting when people say, how are you going to determine which ones you're going to hold and flip? I'll still buy a deal if it's not going to give me the cash flow. Let's say I get a 6%, because a lot of times once you buy north of 450, you're not going to get that cash flow.
Yeah.
But let's call the equity is maybe 25 after that. Then you're really just hyper focusing. Okay, if I had to fire sell this and I brought it down and I sold it at 15% equity and you still make 10 or 15% on the flip, it'd still be a pretty good deal. Again, you can play with it a little bit, but ideally if it hits all 4 of those pillars, it really takes emotion out of the deal. A lot of people get emotionally vested in a deal and they're trying to rationalize and convince themselves, oh, I got to buy this because of this. Oh, my cash flow is unlimited. Oh, it's a legacy property. But if you just simply take out the emotional aspect and you just deploy this aspect, is it a buy or not?
Yeah. Makes sense.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Can you ring that bell for crispy bacon, please?
Oh,
here's
crispy
for Chris.
bacon. There you go.
Just got his 3rd deal under contract. Good job, crispy bacon.
That's funny.
There you
Crispy
go.
bacon.
We
I
are
just did a
answering
deal with
questions.
a Marcus Bacon. Are you related to him?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like crispy bacon too. I mean, it's.
So then, are you cash flow wise?
Mhm.
Are you taking home a certain percent of it and putting a certain percent into debt pay down to make it faster? Are you putting 15-year on? Are you putting 30-year on? Like, how do you get these things to a higher equity position?
Great point. So I have hybrid debt, meaning not all my debt is fixed debt. Some of it's not floating, but it's just interest only. So on a line of credit, which is a great tool to enable you to go out and buy and scale and grow your business, that's one aspect. So I have let's call it 60 homes with a line that's cross collateralized on a line of credit that is just interest only. So it's not paying down principal. Then let's call it another 40 or 50 homes that have fixed rate debt. So that is getting paid down over time. And that's my lower interest rate, which is good because that's fixed rate debt.
Yeah.
But the beauty of a line of credit, it gives you the utmost flexibility in terms of deploying the capital without that interest rate clock ticking in your ear saying, oh, I got to redeploy because I'm paying 6 or 7 or 8% today. Now I got to find an asset to immediately deploy and I'm making a poor decision. That's the power of a line of credit is when you're not pulling it and you don't use it, it costs you nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So using that hybrid approach gives me the utmost flexibility in growing my portfolio. And that's what I do. If I have liquidity and I'm getting cash flow from my rents, which I do, I always take that money and I pay down those lines of credit because now I'm getting a lesser payment, which, saves me money in the short term. It's a great savings tool too, right? Like if your line of credit today is 8 or 8.5%, show me a money market that's going to give you that. Show me a CD, show me a bond. Yeah. You're not getting that. So I take all my additional cash flow. I don't go out and buy dumb shit. People talk about Rolexes and Ferraris and all this stuff. Not my cup of tea. God bless America. And I have a lot of friends that do that. And I get, you only live once. You're not having fun. What are you doing, Zach? YOLO. God bless America. I'm just telling you my strategy. I put it all into my business. I want to own as much real estate as possible, have as much fun as possible, be surrounded by great individuals that I enjoy hanging with. My circle's small, huge, in terms of good friends.
But obviously you buy properties and get accelerated depreciation so you don't pay taxes, right?
I do pay a lot. People say, oh, you don't pay taxes. I'm happy to show my tax. People say, I'll show you mine. You show me yours. Yeah. I happen to be a believer of, yes, you want to do it correctly and I'm all above board and I get audited all the time from the banks and whatnot and fully reporting. But I do pay a lot of taxes despite the amount of depreciation I have in my portfolio. But that also enables me to continue to grow and scale my banking relationships. That's so underestimated. So many people rely on, I'm only going to use other people's money or sub 2 or whatever. I think it's important to have a well-diversified portfolio and have, I don't want to be restricted in what I want to do. Anytime you go in to find a deal and you have the ability to buy it in cash versus any other capacity, you're already up here on the food chain. You have a far greater likelihood of acquiring that. You buy all your deals cash or whatever. Yep. You have a much greater chance of getting that deal compared to some alternative solution. So you never want there to be a contingency on you acquiring a deal. That's why I believe in a saying called you pay to play. I pay my taxes, but now I can play any game that I want immediately. I can pick up the phone, call my banker and say, hey, I just bought, a $10 million spec home. You guys want to finance it? And they say yes. And why do they say yes so quickly? Because they know what kind of money I make. They know what kind of cash flow I bring in monthly. They look at my tax returns. I'm audited. So in one respect, are you going after that sprint mentality or are you playing the marathon game? We're marathon guys, right?
Yep.
That's it.
Yeah. I love it. Well, I mean, it's, I think it was ingrained from Robert Kiyosaki of only idiots pay taxes. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But there's a huge advantage to it when it comes to bankability.
Right.
right? And if
For
you're going to
sure.
get leverage with really trusted people that you've built incredible relationships with, that you can go and pull out lines of credit or do whatever kind of, lending program they have or product that they have at the time, they're coming to you. They're saying, hey, listen, we got some great stuff coming up.
For sure.
Do you want to use these for your purchases? And I think that it's really smart to have this conversation, because I think a lot of people go, well, I'm going to buy real estate to pay less in taxes, to pay nothing in taxes,
Right.
and that type of thing. Good luck getting a loan.
Totally. Right. You want to
Good-
go
good-
and buy
good.
your dream yacht or your dream car or this and that. Forget about it. You show you make no money. How is somebody going to finance you?
How about buying a huge apartment complex?
Totally. Forget about it.
Forget about it.
Forget about it.
There's no chance.
Pay to play.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pay to play.
Yeah.
I mean, look, there's always alternatives, right?
Sure.
OPM and, et cetera.
Creative
But
finance, seller
yeah,
finance.
those are
with
all
some of
great
those other
things to acquire, to learn for your tool belt. But at the end of the day, if you don't want any restrictions on your life, look, we're all entrepreneurs for a reason. We don't like people telling us what to do and what not to do.
Yeah.
So it contradicts that whole mentality of I'm an entrepreneur, but you're going to tell me I can't do this or can't do that because my only way of acquiring something is strategic finance.
Yeah.
No, we want to be autonomous. We want to do what we
Yeah.
want when we want.
Yeah.
And cash is king in today's market.
That's right. Awesome.
I think it
let's-
always has.
Let's look at this.
Yeah.
Loveline Nick, hey, how do I comp where the ARV is all over the place and the year of the house is built 1885
Ooh.
and the lowest house built sold is 1901? Can I use that comp? Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why not? Yeah, I get it. Yeah, why not? 100%. Go for it. I mean, listen, if you really want to get nitty gritty, Loveline Nick, just go and call a really good real estate agent that works in that area, that neighborhood, that marketplace, and say, hey, listen, once this property is totally fixed up, what will this sell for fast? Because they might give you the top line number that's like, hey, we could push value on it. Get the one that's fast. Right, get the number that would sell really quickly, and they'll be more realistic, because they want to get your business if you're calling them, right? So they'll kind of be like, oh yeah, you could sell that thing for $1 million or whatever, when it really sells for $950. So you want to get the realistic number. So that's what I would look at. But yeah, I would use that. I would use that comp, and I have used that comp around the country for sure. Yep, awesome.
What's your portfolio size right now?
300.
Yeah, just under
300?
300.
And you're managing them all yourself
I do. I mean, I have a.
because you like that action.
I don't love the
like
management
that
side of
action.
it. I do not love the management side of it, but I like knowing that I'm in control, right? And I like the engagement of the relationships with my tenants. I have an assistant, a bookkeeper, a full-time handyman.
You like fly in the face of every guru, like everybody out there. Everybody's like, don't manage your own stuff. Get as much leverage as possible.
Yeah.
Don't pay any taxes. All of that
Be
stuff.
careful
But
who
this
you're
is
taking.
real
Be
life.
careful who you're taking
Yeah.
advice from.
I'm
Ask them when the
telling you.
last deal they did was, or what their net worth is per se. I don't go around saying net worth, whatever.
They all
Nobody
lie.
cares.
They
Yeah,
all
they all
lie.
lie.
They all lie. It's
But
not-
you could pull the tax records. You know? So it is
well,
what it is.
everybody knows
Yeah.
you. I mean, everybody that from title companies to lenders to real estate investors to wholesalers know, Zack Ventures.
There you go.
They do.
Everybody knows you too. You want to
Yeah.
know why? Because you guys, this is really important, which I love what you're doing. You guys are constantly being top of mind. You're doing shows. You're out there. You're
Yeah.
teaching.
You're
You're
loud.
buying. You're coaching.
Yep.
Guys, be loud.
Yep.
Talk to people. Get out there. Be top of mind. Out of sight, out of mind. And I think going back to when I came out of here, nobody knew me. How does anyone know anyone starting a business? No one knew you before you were born. How do you know? You be loud. You talk to people. You get out there. Be consistent. Be persistent. And ask for business. Open your mouth. Not only buying deals, you're raising capital. If you're not dual marketing that, you're a fool. In every conversation, the gentleman that just asked for the comp, I love that because it just gives you a free opportunity to call somebody on a relevant source of information to say, by the way, I'm a buyer. If you ever come across anything distressed, forget about one deal. Everyone has this mentality of, oh, this is one deal. How can we do a lot of business together is a question I ask people. And then when you're done asking that question, ask them what their favorite restaurant is and when can we go eat? Build these long-term relationships. Don't look at it as a real estate question. How can we be friends? And from friendship will evolve a lot of business.
I've got one more minute, and then you got to throw a dart at that balloon. All right.
Right.
For a giveaway. Is there a top? Like, do you have a goal of amount of properties you want to own?
It's not. Nope, I really don't. People say, hey, when are you done?
Is it a financial goal?
I do not have a financial goal. My goal is to continue to have fun,
It's the best, isn't it?
It's the best. It's the greatest business in
Said
the
it
world.
all.
When these
Right
guys
there.
come, we walk
Said it
in
all.
and you have a smile on your face and you do what you want to do. Be autonomous. Be surrounded with amazing guys like this. Honestly, that's the goal, is to wake up, be excited. I bought 2 deals today. Super exciting. I love it. I like watching transformations. I like calling my guys, telling them, hey, let's meet out at this, shithole. I don't know, swear on here, whatever. And have a good time. Change neighborhoods, change lives, help the people around you, and have a good time.
Do you meditate?
Problems. Not really. No. I probably should. I'm all over the board.
I don't either. I lay down in the shower. It sounds weird. I have a big old shower and I lay down. I just think about my day and what I'm doing and like goals. And I just kind of like get going, warm up, and then that's it.
I do red light therapy. I do sauna. So I guess that's a some form, but I'm too ADHD to sit there and just calm the mind. No, I'm thinking about deals. I'm thinking about, hey, let's go have fun on a podcast. Hey, let's whatever.
There you go.
Yeah.
Awesome. Zach, how can people find you? Zack Keeps, everybody.
They can go on my ZAK Ventures Instagram. I'm always posting content or lives.
ZAK Ventures
ZAK
on
Ventures.
Instagram.
Yep, you'll see me with my dog up there. There's a lot of these fake profiles, or that's it. That's how they find me.
Awesome.
Google search me.
Awesome. Well, throw a dart at the balloon.
Where do I stand?
The edge of the carpet, bro. There you go. Yeah, you gotta throw. Not that far. That's my range. I've been doing it a long time. Any of them. So the top one, guys, is going to be the T-shirt. The middle is going to be. I wish we would have had that.
I think
that
we may need more.
Incredible. Get closer.
These darts are a little light.
Get closer. You might have 3. Yeah, there you go. Oh, middle. Somebody's getting a hoodie. Zach, thanks for being on here, brother. I'm going to come by today to your,
that's
your
amazing.
event.
Yeah.
I'm pop in. I got a haircut at 5:30, but I'll pop in and
say
hello. You're right here.
Right?
Yep.
Boom, right here.
Yep.
Are you coming
I'll see you there.
Yeah. Show up, take action.
All right, guys. Thank you for joining us. I have to get out pretty quick here because I'm doing a training for Deal Machine like right now. And so remember this. Keep your house clean, protect your health, and increase your value to the world, and you'll live an incredible life. Love you guys. We'll see you next week. Boom.